All right, welcome back to Pax Mithdosica. Oh, Dota portrait. Welcome back to Pax Mithdosica.
No.
And last time that we were here, we were investigating the Beast of Atli. We were about 8 hours into our investigation of the beast's various activities, and we'd developed a number of different theories and potential solutions, etc., etc. And I'm kind of just going to open up the floor from there. It's currently the 19th of December, so Heko, you're expecting your apprentice to make progress in 4 days. I'm happy to summarize anything else you guys have questions about, but other than that, I'm just going to turn it over to you. Where to?
I think.
Have we gotten a long rest after we got back?
No.
We have not, right?
What were you saying,
I
Blake?
think what I would like to do is I would like to ask Zednius and Maximus more about their experience with necromancy, because it seems anything they could recall could be relevant to our situation.
Well, Maximus is indisposed, so you'll be... Luckily, you have Zednius as a source.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys are all at the judge's villa in Mythos. So, Zednius, where do you think you'd be on a December morning as you guys are continuing your investigation?
Probably in my room, I would think.
Okay.
Relaying with Tullius, I guess. Just giving him updates.
Cool. Well then, yeah, Prometheus, you can head to the door.
Yeah, I'll knock.
Yes?
It's Primius. I just have some questions about something I think might be relevant to our case here.
Okay. I'll leave the room.
Yeah, you step out into the hall. There's Prometheus there, his bright golden glowing eyes, disconcerting.
We might want to go someplace a little more private for this conversation. So, inside your room is fine.
I think for a moment, if there's anything in my room.
No, I mean, yeah, you don't have to worry about like creatures sneaking around. Room. Yeah, I mean, the only thing you have that's suspicious is your sword now, and that's like, you know, unless they touch it, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's go in.
So I've heard in passing for a while now that you and Maximus and the previous people you've traveled with had some, I guess, extensive interactions with the... What were they called, Alex? The Necromortis? Yeah, the Necromortis. I believe because necromantic magic was fenced on the metallic bones of the dragon, that they could have something, well, some sort of necromancy is taking place, obviously. So I wanted to talk to you about what you've experienced and see if we could cross anything off or any points of interest.
Sure. Yeah, let's talk Necromortis. So typically, right, there are undead, and in our experience, the furthest they got from the necromancer, or I believe the one that raised them, the weaker the signal was, the more mindless they became and less alert, I would say. And then if the necromancer dies, I don't remember if they become all mindless or if they die. I don't remember. But that was typically our plan of action, was to kill the necromancer first.
Did you dispose of all the necromancers?
that we know of. The Necromortis, I believe, is still active, but not outside of the Deadwood.
Okay. Or are there any people of interest, like known people of the Necromortis, that were MIA?
MIA, I don't think so. We did run into one, Cal Rule, which we disposed of. He seemed to be the lead of all of it. Oh, wait, shit. What was, no, never mind, he died. Renesmee's, like, captor. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Yeah, I believe she told you once that she devoured him.
Yeah. She ate him as a fucking snake or something.
Very good memory, yeah. That is exactly what happened.
As a snake, right?
It was indeed as a snake.
Is there any, does that relate to anything of, like, does that answer any questions?
Not at the moment, but bear with me here. You wouldn't happen to know any suspected Necromortis locations or incidents outside
I mean, the
of
Deadwood.
the Deadwood?
Wait,
outside
what was
of
what was the woman at the Mages Guild? What was her, I guess she used a fake name. But
Yeah.
she was missing.
Can you tell me a little more about that?
Fuck, dude. You're really pulling back.
That was like 40 sessions ago, but I believe in your memory.
Didn't she have like the most
feel like-
obvious like evil name ever?
I don't know her
Lady
name.
Shadow or something.
If I recall correctly, I do think that you made a joke about her being evil the moment you met her based on her name.
Nice.
I know I wasn't there for that session, but I want to say she was like Lady like Devil or something.
No one in Midwest
Lady
would be
Devil.
named fucking Lady Devil, okay? That's not gonna
No,
be
but
Lady,
like
Lady, steal your magic item.
Yeah, that was not the that's definitely not the name of the character. Why are you guiding Yogi astray? You're ruining him.
No, I have no idea her name. She had black hair. She was young? Normal? I'm not sure. But she was very curious in some of the artifacts of the heroes that defeated not Kalul, but the Necromortis way back.
Kalul is the
Oh my
Necromortis guy way back, by the way.
Oh, so wait, then we didn't kill Kalul. Who did we kill?
Your name.
Killed another K guy.
Interesting.
really the most reliable information gatherers.
I mean, it's all accurate. He just forgot some of the proper nouns, okay?
I mean, so did I, so like, it's
Yeah.
not throwing shade. It's just funny.
It is also kind of a funny memory test, because, like, this campaign's been going on longer for us than for the characters, but, like, I don't know. Like, would you remember the proper noun of someone that you met 2.5 years ago? Probably not. It's probably quite reasonable for Zennius to have forgotten it.
I guess I'll ask you, do you think this is a reasonable line of theory that the Necromortis have something to do with this?
I know that they were looking into stuff regarding the dream and the signs, and they sort of predicted this, at least the one that we ran into did. It's possible. It's possible that they're trying to harvest this power. I don't know if the clues of the well, hold on, the dragon had bone, right?
Yeah, the metallic bone. I'll put it on, I guess, a coffee table that we're sitting next to.
Yeah.
It's possible. I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't know if there's any proof.
Well, I find it more reasonable than these clockwork mechanisms to the east. I know I agree
Well,
with that.
what should we do? How would we investigate this?
I believe we could find more information in the classified section of the Department of Faith, but that would be a large ask. We'd have to really, really harp on Cato's allowing us to look into things with it for this investigation. Other than that, no, we can't even rely on that because we can't rely on the validity of that illusion spell. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw some ideas out there. I don't really have anything else.
Alrighty.
I'll-
Right.
Yeah, if there's nothing else, I'll stand and go to leave.
We could go to the Department of Magic and see what they were ever able to uncover on the intruder.
The intruder.
The one I told you about that tried to get the artifacts.
Oh,
She pretended to be a part of the Department of Magic.
I
I'm sure
see.
that there was an investigation done.
I'm sure as well. That'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
know
I
if-
mean, oh, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know if Corvus is in the correct mind state, or if he's still like a sleepless mess, but I'll check in on him.
Yeah, I mean, Corvus, when we last left you, you've been deep in the bowels of this investigation. You were getting some crazy theories going on about what's happening here, and you were basically obsessed with the ward, trying to crack just a piece of it. So I imagine Corvus would be in a similar state as to where we left him last session. So, you know, the ward plastered across the wall, tons of scribbled notes, like the organization of your room slowly collapsing into entropy.
Corvus,
Yeah?
what did I tell you last time?
I wasn't sleeping, I swear.
I think that's the exact issue I have with this situation.
Well, in that case, you did just wake me up.
Did I? Insight check.
Do I roll anything here?
Sure. Roll a persuasion check. No, roll. Yeah, just roll a persuasion check. Yeah. I mean, you could describe it, Hecko. I would imagine that you did just wake up.
Yeah, I've been like, I'm sitting at my desk, so you'd think I wasn't sleeping, but I basically like, you can see like, there's like a tiny ink blot on my like, my pinky where like rested on it, and it was like resting on the paper. You can see like her face is all wrinkled from like sleeping on it.
There's a piece of parchment on your forehead.
My hair is like a complete mess, and I'm like, well, my eyes are very, very much like just woke up.
Classic Corvus
Oh, no.
angle.
Yeah, I'll nod and I'll say apologies, as you were, and I'll close the door.
Yeah.
Wait, no, what do you want?
I wanted to make sure you were sleeping.
Oh, I thought you had something important. You woke
I'm-
me up
I
for
think-
asking me if I'm sleeping? Alright. I
Is your
am.
refrigerator running?
What's a refrigerator?
Don't worry about it. In his delusions, Corvus starts to break the fourth wall and hear the DM speaking. Oh,
If
man.
you're voices,
Yeah.
when Hakon dude keeps yapping. But like something like dice, I don't know.
Well, Prometheus, you give him leave, and I think now we can kind of discuss what direction we want to go in. So I did rewatch the VOD, and just to summarize the different paths that we were considering, there was, as Blake said, the Eastern Path, going up to the Dellian League, exploring these dwarvish ruins of Golgotha, and trying to basically get hands-on experience with these clockwork mechanisms to see if we are dealing with something like that. Second idea was to continue to pursue the Western approach and try to find someone in the West, like a really powerful archmage or something that knows anything about dragons. Vondi was listed as one. Obviously, he's a bit hostile to your nation. There's Archmage Valentine, who seemed to not know that much. But there are also other archmages in the West. And then the third idea that you had was to just go into the mountains and kind of wander around until you find some shit.
Wasn't there also the idea to go to the Dellian League?
That was the first one?
Oh, sorry, I missed you saying that.
That's okay. But yeah, I think those are the three ideas that we were floating.
Isn't it crazy that the one person who's interacted with a lich and has also interacted with dragons so happens to be Vondi?
Yeah, high-level player characters, man.
They get pretty wacky.
They do get pretty wacky.
They do be doing some shit.
So what route do we think we should go?
I
thought... Okay, am I misremembering, or didn't we at the end of the session, did you ask us to kind of decide on something?
I think that you had largely decided on the Dellian League, but It seemed like at the start of this session, Blake was rethinking that a bit. So I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to pivot if you wanted. Or we can start heading over to the Dellian League.
What's our lead at the Dellian League?
The clockwork automaton stuff.
The line of thinking was when we brought the metal to an alchemist, I believe he theorized that the alloy was something from the Golden Age of Dwarves, or someone we visited mentioned that could be the case. And so we were looking for an easy access to Golden Age dwarf stuff, which just so happened to be in the Dellian League and have mechanical monstrosities. So we were gonna go there to cross-reference our idea on what the beast looks like, even though Corvus is the only one who technically has seen it, but really he just saw like a skull in the shadows, and cross-reference that with the clockwork monstrosities.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, if that's the route we want to go down, it's relatively easy. Do we want to commit to getting on a boat to go to Luca and heading out?
Good thing.
Well, I don't know. We do know there was necromantic magic tied to the bone piece itself, and also, I feel like...
Yeah, but there was also like arcane lattice work that was channeling energy, like in a mech.
These are both true statements.
But that would make even less sense for it to be dwarf related. I think we should look into elves.
I would love to, but that's a few thousand years beyond our scope, no?
Well, they're the only group of people I can think of who were capable of such insanity. And actually did it.
Well, the closest thing to modern elves would be Westbar. So you could go on a little vacation. But also, any sufficiently powerful archmage should know a decent chunk about the Elven Empire.
Would they know more than Corvus?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I don't even think Corvus speaks Elvish.
Do I not?
I think you. I don't think you
I
do.
do.
Oh, you do? Okay. Then they would know a little bit more.
Do we have access to any archmages here in Mithdosica? I
There are
assumed
several
all-
archmages in Mithdosica, but they are all doing something. Pasentia's over in Kujva. The deputy autarch of the Department of Magic is serving as a judge, so he's somewhere in the Atlian Mountains. I think this happened last session when you guys went to the Department of Magic and asked around for powerful spellcasters. Literally every single one of them is doing something.
Right.
Because there's only like 10, and they're all very busy.
Mm. Do they have a archmage in where are the clockwork monsters?
They're in a chunk of the desert nicknamed the Scourge, east of the city of Goderluca.
But what was the name of the place we were going?
Golgotha.
I meant the country.
Oh, the Dellian League.
Yeah. Do they have an archmage in the Dellian League?
Almost every city has their own archmage in the Dellian League, because the Dellian League is not so much a country, it's a federation of multiple independent states.
Mm.
Yeah, I think if we are gonna get anybody like who knows a bit from outside, the Dellian League is probably like a good place, because it's also like a place where a lot of people come to trade. No.
Yeah, it's one of the most cosmopolitan places in the world.
Yeah, so I think that might be like.
Sure. All right. Sounds like we're Dellian Leaguing, so I'm gonna bring us to the world map, and let me know which of the Dellian cities you would like to go to. Belza, Zuri, and Goderluca are all the closest to your destination, which I'm just going to leave this because no one knows exactly where Golgotha is. It's kind of like a rumored thing, less so like a guaranteed thing. So, yeah, if you have any questions about any of these cities, feel free to let me know.
What is the current political climate of Zuri?
Zuri is currently ruled by a revanchist militarist party that wants to wage war against a couple of little cities that you guys don't care about.
Sorry, what does revanchist mean?
Basically avenging past defeats.
Like
Yeah.
revenge. Yeah.
What about Belza?
Belza is a military dictatorship as well. Or, technically, Zuri's not a dictatorship. It's a militarist democracy. Belz is a full-on like
And what
military
places
junta.
these days, you know?
Well, there's a couple. So Eki Alden and Mendebaldian are both democracies. Goderluca is a theocracy of a totally different religion. Like they are a theocracy dedicated to the Hellion pantheon, which is the second state religion of Mithdosica.
So which one is the one? Which one is like the most cosmopolitan? I'd say.
Zuri.
Well, I think that's probably our best start. Unless one of them is like literally focused on, like, is that one that's focused on research? Like, is like known for its like university or something like that?
No, not particularly. I also should mention, in case it comes up, these two things out in the desert are elven ruins. They're called Illithin Dagar and Illithin Girth, but they are not like abandoned. They are inhabited by a race of half-elves named the Athnaween. They are highly xenophobic. They will kill you on sight, but they're also some of the most like well-preserved and currently inhabited elven ruins in the world. So, which city would we like to take a boat to?
I think Zuri.
Alrighty.
Yeah, let's go to Missouri.
So,
What do you think, Noda?
did you do that tone of voice?
I don't know.
From officer.
He's muted, and he doesn't even know it. Watch it be like he's actually given his input like 40 times, and every single time he's just been muted.
He's kind of ignoring my yapping. What the fuck?
Hello, Dodo. On Joe.
I didn't hear him, sorry.
That's fine. I was on the edge of my seat. All right. So yeah, you'll need to speak to Kato before you head off. Is there anything else you want to get in the capital before heading on your way?
I don't think so.
Great. Then, Prometheus, you can quickly schedule a meeting with Kato, because you need to inform him that you're headed out. And while the other 3 judges are down in the harbor organizing transport, you make your way to the Master of Judges' office. Kato seems to have recovered from the utter despair that you found him in about 2 weeks ago. He's like shaved his face, he's clean shaven again, his head is like properly bald, his office is all cleaned up, he's replaced his like corkboard of the Transpontarsal area with a corkboard of the Atlian Mountains marking the locations of all the different judges and stuff. And all the incidents, and it's much more organized. And he's like seated at this table of all these little flags planted in the board as you enter. And he'll glance over his shoulder and stand up, and he'll give a bow and say, "Prometheus?"
Kato, very nice to see you. After a week of deep thought, we decided to go to Zuri in the Dellian League. We believe that we can find more information about the beast based off of the Scourge.
I can't say I'm familiar, but I trust your instincts on this. Well, actually, since you're heading off, I should give you this before you leave. And he walks over to a scroll repository and takes out a narrow little scroll and hands it over to you. That there is a, well, I believe I told you and the rest of your fellow judges a week or so ago that another pair of judges has been dispatched to try to discover as much information about the beast as possible. That scroll contains a list of their findings. I recommend that you give it a read over. It could hopefully help you during your exploration of the League.
I'll nod. Thank you very
I'll
much.
also likely be hiring an Arcanist in a week or so, perhaps every week, to keep in contact with you. In the event that you'll be needed back in Mythos, is Lord Judge Corvus capable of teleportation?
He is.
Good. Good. Well then, I assume you'll have no trouble acquiring travel visas on your own.
Not at all. I believe we already have some.
All right then. Yeah, and he'll sit back down at the table and view the map before him.
Yeah, I'll take my leave, and as I leave his office, I'd like to take a moment while I'm by myself to read it.
Yeah, this scroll is not like a bullet-pointed observation list. It's a like full-on report written by a man named Aurelius Tullius Fabricia. You would recognize his name because he is the Deputy Autarch of the Department of Magic, aka the second highest ranking magical official in the Empire. He reports the following. It is technically a letter, but I'm going to give it to you in bullet pointed form. The plateau wards keep a creature physically bound to the mountains. That's one of the aspects of his report. Now, plateau wards, I think it's a proper noun you're not super familiar with, but he's likely referring to the ward that was discovered by Corvus and like that whole thing. He also says the beast is capable of teleportation, not just to the wards. And then lastly, he says that while basically other mages think that some chronergy could be involved, like where all these extinct creatures are coming from, he doesn't think that's true. He thinks they were all merely teleported from very distant places, like the elemental planes, other parts of Valeros, and for one or two creatures, other worlds entirely. And those are the 3 observations he's made.
Wow. That's pretty intense.
Yep. Also, he doesn't explain how he came upon these. They're just like stated as facts. Oh yeah, he also uses the word wards, which implies there's multiple, which you didn't know either.
So that means the beast isn't native to the mountains, but it was brought here by teleportation from somewhere.
Or created, I guess, no?
Well, yeah, created, but it's not like it was teleported here, whether it was created or birthed from some unholy process.
We haven't ruled out illusion either yet, right?
I don't think you have.
We have not.
Well, Primius, you make your way down to the waterfront. Corvus, Zednius, and Granio spend the better part of the day navigating the simple task of acquiring a travel permit to the Dellian League. Even with judge prerogative, it was a lengthy and involved process that, for the mercy of everyone, we're going to skip. And you guys can get yourselves on a boat, which will an Imperial Mithdosian ship that will, free of passage, drop you off at the city of Zuri. Technically, it's not the city of Zuri; it's a port outside of the city, but it'll drop you off the city
How
of Zuri.
long does the journey take?
It is going to take. Let's go measure it out. I think it's a week and a half, based on my gut
Okay,
instinct.
good, because I need a long rest. Because while I can teleport, I don't have the spell slot right now.
Yeah. Actually, maybe more than that. Let me see. I'm just going to keep measuring this. But yeah, you guys can. I think Corvus, Grania, Zednius, you guys are all getting situated in the cabin that you've gotten. It has 4 beds in it, and that's when Primius finally catches up with you guys and can share the content of the scroll if he wishes to. Road short resting.
I mean,
Oh,
I'll
sorry.
give half my dice back on long rest, but yeah, I have to heal first.
Sense. All right, it's going to be a 12-day journey by boat. Oh, how many days are in December? That's a dumb question, never mind. Oh, you guys are going to arrive in Zuri right on Shattering Day. That's exciting. It'll be the start of a new year. Yippee!
Is this a celebrated thing, I assume?
Yeah, of course. It's one of the biggest holidays of the year, almost all across Valeros.
Huge.
Um,
Party time, boys.
So true. Yeah, so you guys are all getting situated in your cabin. Beneath you, you can hear the sound of the boat rocking as it gets ready to cast off. It's a free journey because a whole bunch of reasons, and it's a narrow cabin. You guys are going to get real comfortable with each other over the next couple weeks. So, do you want to share the contents of the scroll with the rest of the party, Primius?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay. Any thoughts on it, Corvus?
Does the ward information, does that correlate to my findings? I know I haven't made much, but
That's what I was
if
about
I
to say.
assume this to be true, would it make sense?
I mean, so the ward consists of, I believe, 6. Let me just pull up my handout 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the ward consists of 6 subcircles and then the main circle. You've literally translated a single subcircle. Of course, he could basically tell you anything about the wards and you'd be like, yeah, that's probably possible because it's so beyond you.
Using it as information, could I extrapolate further info?
Well, you do still have the sketch with you. Roll me an Arcana check.
Surely, for the first time in 200 Arcana checks, I'm gonna roll something above a 15.
Clueless.
Spooky.
It's 20. I'll take it.
Not quite above a 15. Yeah, I mean, what you're mostly able to determine is which of the circles does what he says. It's one of those things where you can't actually translate it, but constriction, which is what he's referring to, which is a most magical circles also do constriction. You're pretty sure you know which of the subcircles does that. So that narrows down 1 more. So there's only 4 that you have completely unidentified.
Okay.
It's progress.
Progress is progress, I guess.
Yeah. Let me go read the specific note on that ward real quick. Yeah, it's a subcircle of transpositional binding, which basically would be we know all about that. It would be a modified version of the Private Sanctum spell, which explicitly prohibits a creature by its true name from teleporting in or out of the area. Yeah. That's the guess of what it does.
What is true name? Is that a common way to be?
In modern magic, very rare. In elven magic, the default. Because it's significantly stronger if you can do that. The only other type
What
of
about
creatures...
dwarven magic?
Dwarven magic is runes. So, it's very sigil-based. It's basically just abjuration. All Dwarven magic is basically just abjuration with a bit of flair to it.
So this does seem more elven than dwarven.
At least the wards do, yeah. Well, we're in a boat now. Yeah?
I was gonna say I would like to contact the Master of Judges.
In what way?
We have a sending stone.
Sending.
Sure. What do you
We don't
send?
have a sending stone, do we?
I don't know.
Yeah, he gave it to us.
Did he?
Oh,
His sheet is not.
did he?
Source.
I'm pretty
Crap,
sure you did.
I thought,
I know that Tullius gave Yogi a sending stone equivalent, but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure we've just been using the spell anytime we've communicated.
I also thought
I'm,
that.
I'm just gonna
Oh.
cast sending,
okay.
you know, from my own repertoire, and I'm gonna ask him, about the magic ward.
3 words about the magic word.
Is about the magic word? What magic word? How much am I allowed to share? How much do I need to keep secret?
The response will come. The time for secrecy has long passed. The Empire knows. Soon our foes will as well.
I can deal with that.
Okay. Well, we're in a boat. A boat which is quite small. This is a clipper, which is a sort of largely for the commercial transit of goods. This route is one of the most popular. Like, the trips to the Dellian League are incredibly common. Your ship will be continuing on to Belza, getting a bunch of unique Dellian exports like Thanadil crabs and stuff like that before bringing them back to the Empire. So you basically have a single room that's like yourself to yourselves that you all share. Beyond that, it's a very, very busy ship. So we don't need to go through everyone, but I am kind of curious what, if anyone has notable things in their daily routine, because this is such a compressed, claustrophobic space, and there's essentially no privacy on board. So, like, for Grania, what does the next 2 weeks look like?
I don't think she'll care as much about the living close together, no privacy stuff, just because she's never really cared about that kind of things, but she probably is giga seasick.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, because she'd never been on a boat before the Gela Isle thing, and this is probably like her 6th time. Yeah.
Yeah, she wouldn't have been used to it from growing
Yeah,
up.
and this is way more open ocean than you've ever been on before, because you're like,
Probably a lot more rough.
yeah, you're in the Hammersfall for a section of this journey, so, yeah, brutal. Okay, Nauseous Grania. How about Zednius? How does Zednius fare over these next 2 weeks?
It is cramped, so a little of the claustrophobia memes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
that. Really trying to not have the sword touch anyone that's not me.
You just like leave it scabbard on your bed?
I think yeah, and it's sheathed.
Yeah. Okay. Do you try to get to know any of the sailors? Like, what are you actually filling your days with?
Sure, I'll get to know the sailors about like how to start being a sailor.
Sure. Roll me a persuasion check. Zednius is a nice and charismatic guy.
Character sheet.
First check of the session, Pog.
No, Corvus rolled a.
Well, for you.
True.
For you.
Oh no, the internet.
It just further builds the anticipation.
What do I have to-
Okay, yeah, you know, I think you'll certainly be making a good impression on the sailors throughout. Corvus, I presume you are just in the Mind Palace for the next 2 weeks, working on research and the board and all that stuff.
I think I'm usually keeping above board because Corvus has been on a ship before,
Yeah.
but he's not as most comfortable. I think he'll try to keep above board so he can have the horizon line. Can I use that to stabilize his so he doesn't feel as seasick?
So you like sit on the
And,
top deck, just like
Yeah.
doing notes and shit.
And I think while he's working on his notes, he'll also try to pick up as much information about his destination from the crew as possible.
Okay.
Like how the local culture works, if there's anything like majorly different other than what language do they even speak? Do they speak mainly common because it's a trade hub, or
Yeah, honestly, your biggest source for this, because this sailors are not all Mythosian, sorry. In fact, they're majority not Mythosian. It's a Mythosian ship, like the captain is, the ship's owner is, who's not on board. But the crew is majority Dellian. So they speak Dellian as their common tongue, like the lingua franca of the ship. Which, do you speak that language?
no?
Okay, so to you it sounds kind of like someone speaking Mythos, but like slurring every single word into unintelligibility. Yeah, so you don't really understand much of their
Dutch.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't really understand much of the words they're saying. However, when Zednius does his rounds and, you know, during late nights drinks with them on the deck or stuff like that, and you're still working, you're able to get snippets of his conversation. And to answer those questions in kind of quick order, in Zuri, the primary language is Dellian. The city's culture is highly democratic, highly open. Recently, it won like a border skirmish, so spirits in the city are very high. It's a relatively wealthy city, and it is seen as the philosophical heart of the Dellian League. All the famous, like, even the sailors, who are kind of, you know, not the most well-read of people, even they know a couple of the philosophers from Zuri, because that's just what the city's known for. Men like Eugemenes and stuff like that.
Okay. What about economy-wise?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a trade hub, but how does the Dellian League, like, where does most of the money come from?
The Dellian
Are they
League is
exportation?
yeah. So there's a huge bifurcation between East and West in the Dellian League. Basically, the western three most cities were until recently slave economies. They did large scale cash crops using slaves, and then exported that for profit. But I don't want to get into all the history, but essentially they don't have slavery anymore. There was this populist revolution and a mercenary company and all this stuff, and slavery's gone in the Western Dellian League. Instead, they use serfs. So they are essentially feudal, which makes them a lot closer to Western Valeros than anything in the East. Serfdom is very rare in Eastern Valeros. The eastern side of the Dellian League is essentially proto-capitalist. Like, there's not companies. They don't have anything like that, but they do have like a very well developed guild structure. They have citizens who vote in elections and also like till the land. Except for Godaluca. Godaluca is still, it's the only city in the Dellian League that still has wide scale slavery. But yeah, that's generally, West is more like authoritarian, more serf based. East is generally more free trade or proto capitalist.
And Godaluca sounds horrible.
Godaluca is, yeah, it's a theocracy with like distinct like caste system that's unique to anywhere else in the league, and it has slavery. So yeah, it's a pretty rough place to live. Yeah, it's pretty rough. I'm glad you guys are going to Zuri and not Godaluca, because I'll say your judge's badges would not take you very far in Godaluca.
I would assume so.
Yeah,
especially since there's the since we're of a different religion.
Yes, of a different religion, which is oppressing theirs. Yeah, they would not be a fan of
They
you.
would hate that.
Permius, I saved you for last because when you step onto the deck of the ship that very first day, we're kind of rewinding in time to you like walking up the gangplank. Instantly, oh wait, Blake said be right back. Is he back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know if I was about to yap for like 5 minutes and then hear silence.
He's so fucking bad.
Welcome back. So yeah, as you walk up the gangplank of this ship, the entire crew turns to look at you. And at first you don't understand why. And then the captain at the helm will kind of descend the steps and like approach you, and he'll like kneel down and say, "Lord, welcome."
What is this?
Can I help you?
I'm here with my traveling individuals.
The other judge.
Yes.
I see. Well, your divinity, if there's anything else we can do to assist you on this trip, please let us know.
All right.
And yeah, then you head down below the deck. Kind of a weird interaction, but...
You're not going to question them calling you your divinity?
I feel like Primus
Or
has
other
run
judge.
into like very similar other random people, so it's just like his response is just, all right, don't do that, but that was weird, let's move on.
Well, you didn't say they don't do that part. So you head downstairs,
right.
you have your conversation with your fellow judges, and that evening, as you head up to the top deck to receive food, instantly a similar thing happens. Like Corvus heads up, no one cares. Zennius heads up, no one cares. Granny heads up, no one cares. You head up, and instantly, like all the chatter on the deck kind of goes quiet. Everyone is like trying to focus on like the doling out of food, but people keep glancing at you out of the corner of their eyes. And the just random like cook who's doling out food from this large stew pot he made, kind of looks at you and says, "Your divinity, I'm not sure if this food is fit for someone like you."
It's fine. I've eaten worse. What's with this your divinity thing anyway?
What do you mean, Your Holiness?
Why do you call me titles?
You're a chosen of Aurelian soul.
It's true, but I wish to be treated like any other passenger on this vessel. Please stop.
Yes? All right. And he'll serve you a normal bowl of slop. And despite your specific instructions, that does not work. What you discover is that while many people in all their different professions encounter people with glowing eyes on a more regular basis, like soldiers, whenever they go to a cleric to get healed up, they likely see someone with glowing eyes. Sailors is one of those professions where holy people don't typically, make their way down to the docks and go amongst sailors. And for a crew of even Dellians, who largely worship Aurelian soul, this is like probably the first time they've ever had a person with glowing eyes on their ship, or at least one who walked amongst them so normally, especially one with such luminescent eyes. They don't know you're part of the Imperial family. That would probably drive them into further fanaticism. But just the fact that someone with such potent glowing eyes is on ship, like to the rest of your crew members, to the rest of the party, they're not mean. They're just kind of indifferent. Like they just kind of like walk past you in the hallway. They don't really tailor the experience to you. But for Primus, they will like kneel, they'll get out of the way, they'll clean the deck like after you've walked on it. They'll do their best to make this the finest trip that you could enjoy.
All right.
Yeah, how does Primus feel about this? It sounds uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think he's pretty uncomfortable by the crew, especially if he's just like, please stop, and they're just like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's so humble. He's so gracious. Only the Mahdi would say that he is not the Mahdi.
Yes.
But besides that, I don't really think he minds sleeping in such a cramped space, being in...
I didn't think so, that's why I didn't ask.
Yeah.
He is honestly, other than Maximus, the most like rough and tumble member of the party. Like for him, this is a Tuesday. Well,
You got soft hands, brother. You got soft hands.
at sundown on the second day, the three of you, sorry, by the three of you, I mean Zednius, Grania, and Primus are all down in your cabin trying to fall asleep. Grania has been seasick the last 2 entire days, so exhaustion quickly claims her. But Corvus, you're up on the upper deck. Most of the crew has gone beneath. There's only about 4 people up here, which is the night shift. The captain's gone to bed. And as you're kind of lingering there, a man wearing kind of like a leather jerkin, you know, kind of tailored pants. You've seen him around the ship before. He'll walk over to you, Corvus, and he'll say, You're sort of a academic fellow, right?
I suppose you could say that.
You want to see something neat?
Oh.
He starts to climb the scaffolding to your left, like all this complicated rope, and he says, "Come up with me. It's easiest to see it from the crow's nest."
Yeah.
He pauses like half, like he's like reaching up again to continue climbing, and then he pauses and reaches a single hand down and says, "Lucullus, I'm the quartermaster."
Corvus.
Do you shake his hand?
I'm
Pause, champ.
Am I muted?
No, I just didn't hear what you said.
I said Corvus. I'm a judge.
Oh, and I said, did you shake his hand?
Oh yeah.
Okay. He'll continue to ascend the ropes. Make me an athletics check as you follow him, Corvus.
I'm decent at
Yeah.
acrobatics for a wizard.
Yeah, you know, it's good enough. I mean, like a 10 is this is not like a superhuman feat. This is just a little bit hard on noodle arms. But you can ascend the ropes beside him. The crow's nest is small, and there's already someone up there, so he will kind of like whistle when he's like 15 feet below and tell the guy to head on down to the deck. The quartermaster will get up into the thing, and it's dark. Like, it is, so it's not like nightfall, it is night. Everywhere around you is pitch black. Like, you can't even see the ocean from where you are. You can hear it, but you can't see it. The sky above you, though, is awash with stars. I mean, this isn't the first time you've seen this outside of a major city. This is just what it looks like. But it is, here on the ocean, your perspective of it is way like, it's the entire sky. There is no mountains obscuring vision. There's no trees blocking the sky. It is the stars completely around you. And looking up while you're in the crow's nest, he kind of like positions them, like the crow's nest is a semicircle, so he puts himself on the other side so you can't like fall backwards. Because you do get a slight sense of vertigo just like looking at this sky kind of unfolded around you. And the quartermaster will say, "It's the winter solstice. Shortest day of the year."
I see.
You can see those stars for quite a long time.
You get this view every year?
It varies. You see, the stars in the far north, past Colquhoun, they're a bit different, and every once in a while during the summers we decide to go there so the stars look a bit different, but most evenings down here in the south, it looks just like this. He'll kind of reach up a hand and point towards the thing he brought you up here for. Comets are known to exist. This is not like a strange omen or whatever. And he'll point up at the sky, this like long kind of trailing green comet. It has a single long tail that like spirals behind it through the sky. It moves very slowly, incredibly slowly. And he'll point up at it and say, "That's what I wanted to show you. Our sailors call it the Evil Eye."
Do I know anything about this comet?
Roll a just
My
general
studies.
history check. This is like a really random, actually intelligence. This is not history. This is a random piece of, actually we can just take your intelligence modifier on that roll. So you rolled a
So it's -5, so it's 19.
19, yeah. With a 19, yeah, I mean, there are a number of infamous comets. The most famous is the twin-tailed comet, which comes roughly every 1,000 years and is generally associated with instant impending calamity. The most recent time it came, nothing really happened, which was about 5 years ago. And then 1,000 years before that, the world shattered. So, That one's a bit of a weird one, but
That's a 50-50.
in the time before that, like it's believed that that's when the Apep Empire fell, which was the first human empire. So it's kind of a bit lumpy on things actually happening. The evil eye though is a lot more frequent. It comes. You're not familiar with the exact dates, but it's like every decade or two, and it's just associated with like general uneasiness rather than like outright cataclysm. And it remains in the sky for a couple of weeks before disappearing again. And the quartermaster will continue to speak, and he'll say, "On the darkest day of the year, and the evil eye appears. It's two ill omens at the same time."
Not sure I believe in that, but it's hard to argue with.
Well, I just thought, you academic folks have all your papers and stuff like that. I just thought that, people should know.
It's not exactly my field of expertise, but I can record it, I suppose.
And now that he has you here, he kind of points out a couple other things. The blinking star, which is a star which every couple of minutes like flashes out and then flashes again. It's not so much that it flashes out. That's an over description. What it actually does is it gets a little bit dimmer and then brighter. And there are a variety of different things which he points out, constellations, etc., etc. A lot of this you kind of know just because the study of astronomy, magic, and math are all kind of intertwined in Mythdosia. To become a wizard, you are expected to have all these additional disciplines because if you want to make a new spell, you kind of need them anyways. Astronomy less so. Astronomy is more of a historical holdover because the elves were fucking obsessed with the stars. But yeah, do you find...
But there was also the prophecy book of, was it Khalil himself?
Khalil.
Was Khalil, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the guy that you guys murdered in the...
It was indeed the guy that murdered in the Deadwind, yeah. Star theory is a thing that it's highly esoteric. It's a very bizarre form of arcane spellcasting that thinks that the stars directly predict events in the real world.
But it seems to have...
It does seem to have some predictive power, yeah, which is kind of strange.
Spooky, yeah.
Either way, he largely brought you up here for the thing, but now that he has you, he'll continue to talk. And do you find any of this interesting?
Actually, yeah.
Okay, well then you'll learn that.
Balmus is the type of guy who any type of knowledge is interesting.
Okay, well then this will be a nice escape from your obsession with the ward. And he'll continue, talking about all this stuff. He'll also point out that
I'll stuff my pipe, and then just enjoy some sailor yarn.
He'll also point out one thing, which is he'll point up at there's two moons in Valeros, and he'll point up at one of them. And he's continuing to tell the story because he has a story, a sailor story specifically for how every single thing in the star appeared, like every single thing in the sky. It's all just like folklore, and this is all definitely heresy, but it's like harmless heresy. Like he's not undermining Aurelian's old doctrine. It's just like random folktales. One of the things he says though is kind of interesting, mostly because you've met that one faun from Athaloran. He points up at the moon and he says, "And that there's the Forested Moon. It's where hails all fairies and strange folk." And then he starts to point on to the next one, but I don't know if you...
I do recall that Tiberius did say something about living on the moon, did he not? I always thought he was being ridiculous.
What's Tiberius?
Oh, he's a man from Athaloran I met a while ago.
Ah.
On a job. He's...
Wait, a man? You mean the Feywood?
I suppose.
Men live in the Feywood?
He wasn't quite human.
Strange.
He wasn't really... He didn't really tell us exactly where he came from. I'm pretty sure Tiberius wasn't even his real name, but yeah, he told us a few things about how weird things can be there.
Well, I've heard that there's a man who plays a fiddle, dancing on the surface of a forested moon.
Maybe we're talking about the same man.
Right. And he continues to name other astral bodies. He'll also come upon the fact that, right now, there is a very vague outline of another planetoid in the sky. He calls that one, the elemental plane of fire, but you're pretty sure that's not how the planes work. Like, they're not literal planets, but there is a clearly visible, like, astral body with the naked eye, you know, in the same hemisphere of the sky as the moon, or the moons.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it kind of goes that way, you know. He eventually finishes up sharing about these various astral bodies. It's a healthy mix of like real information that is used for navigation and sailor bullshit. Like he says that one of the stars is a giant fish that like leaped out of the water with wings and then it kept flying uncontrollably, and then when it entered the sky, its eyeball turned into a star, which is obviously a true story, and it says a lot about the strength of flying fish that they're able to literally fly into the stars.
Indeed.
Yeah, so
he talked a lot about the star population.
True, and he shares, you know, very vital information like that alongside useless stuff like the North Star and other things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually he just kind of wanders back down the rigging, and you join him, and yeah, the time at sea kind of passes both quickly and slowly. Like the individual days are very slow, but because they're all so similar, like in your memories, they start to like blur together. After another 2 days after the solstice, so as you guys are passing by the city of Nausius, like between Nausius and little island to its west, Corvus, you are going to receive a sending spell.
All right.
What would be how would he phrase this? Master Corvus, I have made progress on your spell and discovered something about the wards sent to Zuri.
Guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Yes. That's great to hear. We should arrive in a day or two.
Alrighty.
I'll so just say thank you.
Right. You guys can all get a long rest if you needed them, because it is over a week spent on this boat, so that is a instant long rest because you're not doing anything. If you'd like, you could also train skill proficiencies, though I am going to be a bit harsh about how you're training them. Like stealth, I think is going to be impossible to train on this ship.
No.
But like sign language, I think makes tons of sense, like how you would practically train that skill. I think Corvus, your week is going to be spent on researching the plateau wards, so we'll talk about that once you get to Zuri. But for the other three of you, what skills would you guys like to train?
Sign.
Sign. Okay, cool. You can, since you have Granny as a captive audience, you can add 2 progress. Corvus?
She might be less.
Yeah, because she's sick as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to,
It's distinctly possible, but I think she'll get used to it after a couple of days. I mean, that's really the only option. Otherwise, she's going to be fucking vomiting for 2 weeks straight.
Granny, what are you focusing on teaching?
Okay. And then Granny, what do you do? Is there any skills that you're training?
I don't think
Stealth,
they'll
not
work
giving a
for
fuck.
this.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's stealth and law teachings, but
I think law could work
trouble.
since you have law for beginners with you.
Sure.
Damn shame it hasn't come up that often.
Yeah.
Permeus, is there any skill that you were training other than stealth?
Nope.
Okay.
But Shadow brings up a good point. I think I should learn stealth because I'm
You're hiding from the
for the whole
group.
time.
I don't think that's a good point.
It's just hide around corners, spooking.
Yeah, it's
the crew
just
and kind of
me
like,
skulking in my
fuck!
room is not training stealth.
What do you mean? I'm stealth maxing.
Yeah, my
for real,
my
for real.
teenage son being like, "No, Dad, I'm training stealth in my room."
You can't see me.
I'm
Don't make me.
training
Yeah, I'm not gonna accept that one. Alrighty. Oh, and then Echo, you can add one progress to the spell research as well.
Huge.
Yeah,
What
since
progress do I get to the law teachings?
two.
Okay.
Alrighty. It's almost 2 weeks, but it's technically not, so you do not get a second long rest. But going into December 28th, you guys pass through the Horns of Hazat, which is the entryway into Thanadil Bay, which is the eastern half of the Dellian League. To your left is the river city of Mendebaldian. To your right is the Feywood. And even those of you who haven't really been on the deck much kind of go up because it's this insane contrast. To your right, there are trees 400 feet tall, like within inches of the shore. It is primordial Feywood, not like the border Feywood that you guys have been to before, like the Deadwood, for instance, which has been slowly pushed back by mankind. These shores have been Feywood since the Shattering, minimum, probably a lot longer. They are just completely colonized by the forest. To your left, though, is Mendebaldian, and it's just rolling countryside. So on either side of these straits, you have, primordial forest and then civilization, directly contrasted. And then about a day after that, you guys are all called up onto the deck with, you are the only passengers aboard, everything else is cargo, and you bring up all your luggage and supplies and the like. And the captain will give a deep bow to you, Permeus, and then to the four of you say, "We'll be in Zuri in about 3 or 4 hours. The ship will have to wait to get all of our cargo inspected and go through all the bureaucracy, but since you're just travelers with passage permits, you should be able to just walk on shore. The Zurians aren't as big on bureaucracy as the Mithdosians, so you don't have to report to the harbor master office or anything like that."
Understood. Thank you for your service.
A small piece of advice. Obviously, your divinity, can't exactly cover up your national loyalties, but for the rest of you, I recommend keeping the Mithdosian-ness on the down low. Zuri isn't exactly hostile to Mithdosia, but they're not exactly friendly either, and the further you go west in the League, it only gets worse.
See.
He nods. And then he goes back to...
How the hell I'm gonna do that? I guess I have common clothes.
I mean, yeah, you guys all do look very...
I'm wearing Mithdosian battle mage clothes.
Yeah, so is Grania. I mean, Zennius has, like, the metrosexual look of a Mithdosian. Like, you all just look very, very Mithdosian. Yeah. So, on the 31st of December... your ship docks in the harbor of, again, technically not Zuri. And sure enough, it's as he said. In Mithdosia, this would be an hours-long, maybe half-a-day process, but you walk off the gangplank, and then you're in the city.
Oh.
So, what now?
Where do you buy magic items, Jackie? God damn, we don't have Ethan here to buy magic items for us.
You know?
Which city was your uncle in? Was he also in Zuri?
Let me check.
I know he's in the Delhi. I could go check my notes as well. I just thought you would know. Notes, he's taking too long.
Why are my notes? Why do they still say? Oh. And my notes just says Dellian League. It doesn't say where.
Let me go check the solo session notes. Maybe he just didn't tell you what city he was going to. That would be weird, though.
It's
It'd be incredibly based.
Oh, he told you he was going to Zuri. Yeah.
Oh.
So, you guys need to walk from here, this little like port city, over to Zuri. Luckily, they're connected by this long wall and kind of like a highway, like this brick paved path. It's about a 21-mile walk. So you guys got a bit of a long walk ahead of you. Or you can hire a carriage if you like. Do you have a preference?
How much is a carriage? Wait.
Yeah.
Do we need to exchange money?
No, you do not. They accept Mithdosian coin here.
Okay.
You're lucky you picked a metropolitan city. You go to Ekialden, cooked. But yeah, it'll cost 1 electrum for the 4 of you. There's about 80 carriages because I mean no one wants to walk the entire journey to Zuri.
Wait,
Almost
sorry,
everyone.
1 electrum. That's half a gold.
No, it's 1/10 of a gold.
1/10. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like.
It's $100.
5 silver pieces, right?
Yeah, it is 5 silver pieces.
Okay, I wasn't sure where the word step in the conversion was.
Yeah.
I always get that mixed up if it's up or down from the electrum.
So do you hand over an electrum?
Sure.
All right. The 4 of you guys get into this carriage and start to be.
Actually, no. Wait. I think we should walk, just because having solid ground beneath our feet might actually be a good change.
Yeah, for Grania.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then the 4 of you begin the long walk. To start with, you guys draw a lot of attention. Obviously, Primius draws the most. Like, people see glowing, they look at him, then they look at the rest of you, and they're like, oh my god. Are you guys wearing your judges' badges openly?
No.
I'm not. No.
Nope.
Okay, so you guys still draw a lot of attention. And as you walk down this long highway to Zuri proper, you start to get an idea of the layout of that city. Essentially, the entire city is built around a series of hills. Each of these hills has like a prominent structure atop it. I mean, you don't know the names of any of these, but like one of them looks to be a large open forum with a large temple next to it. You're not familiar with any like state religion here in Zuri, but there seems to be what you would call like temple structures, like large kind of dome structures. You're not really sure what they're dedicated to. Also, the languages here, you hear all sorts of shit, like Dellian, Sinvalin, Common. You hear basically no mythos being spoken anywhere. And you also notice that
What
the
about
people...
Platonic or Tibetan?
No, none of those.
Imperial Sign Language.
Actually, no, there's none of that. They have Dellian Sign Language.
Oh no!
Yeah, sorry, that is a distinct language. Yeah, you also notice that the people here are darker than most Mithdosians, which Mithdosians are darker than most Tibrashans, so they have like kind of a bronze skin tone in general. Also, the clothes here, because it's a lot hotter here, the clothes are a lot more flowing than in Mithdosia that you're used to. Like, you have no idea when the city last got rain. Like, the soil here is like parched and kind of Mediterranean in climate. And you also notice that they just have like people yapping. Like, as you walk down this long 20-mile road, there's just a guy on a milk crate like talking to the public. It's the weirdest shit you have ever seen. Like, he's not a crier.
No, I remember.
He's not paid to do this.
I remember you telling us about this.
Yeah.
This is because of the city of philosophers. No, it's not. It's about like open forum.
It is
discussion,
indeed
no?
the city of philosophers. Yeah.
This is what that's about.
Yeah, and as you, I mean, yeah, you for those of you who speak Dellian, which actually we should cover that now before it comes up later. Who actually speaks Dellian
Any
here?
of us speak Dellian?
Does anyone speak Dellian?
I thought we had one person, but no, I don't.
Watch it be
There's
Maximus.
Maximus?
I mean, he's technically here, but he's not here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maximus, doesn't he just speak to Brashan?
I think he does just speak Tibrashan, but it sounds like we have no Dellian speakers. Unless, Yogi, do you speak Dellian?
Nope.
Okay. We're on common in Mythos then, which means common. Yeah, so you guys have no fucking idea what that guy in the milk crate is saying. And it takes about 6 hours to get to the Zuri proper. It's not like the road is uninhabited, by the way. There's like buildings and rest stops, and like clearly these two cities have essentially merged along this long wall that connects the two of them. And Zuri itself is busy. It is really busy. It's way smaller than Mythos. It's like on size with like Ravinium maybe, but like Mithdosian cities have these giant open like roadways. They have these colossal mega structures. This city has none of it. It's like a rat's nest. The walls are like the only semi-impressive structure, but even then, like, Patricia has better walls than Zuri does. What Zuri does have, though, is like density, like incredible density. And there's people talking constantly, and you can hear like debates essentially, like raging. It's all very active and weird compared to what you're used to. So what are we looking for here in Zuri?
Archmagus.
Okay, so what is your method of finding that?
Well, I guess first we should probably find a place where we stay. What time of day is it?
So you would have gotten there at around 10, then you walked. It's like for early evening, I would say.
Yes, I think we should probably look for a place where we can stay the night, and then, out in we're probably gonna find some people who can tell us where we might start looking.
Okay.
Does that sound plausible?
Yeah. Sure. You guys can easily find
I was
a.
hoping, yeah.
Oh, if you want to ask the
for
party.
The other party members,
Yeah.
yeah, but they seem to be.
Private.
Yep, so true.
Based.
Yeah, you guys can find a place to stay. You find a inn called the Black Cockerel. It seems pretty nice, though it says like grand opening, which I think is what draws your attention because it says grand reopening, but it's written in common, which I think kind of draws your attention. Inside, you can hear, it's bustling with activity. And yeah, there's not much common being spoken within, but as you enter and look a little bit lost, a person who is seated kind of near the bar will stand up and walk over. He's wearing a very like loose flowing shirt that like very clearly exposes his chest. He has like not real pants, that's just like an extended part of his robes that's like wrapped up around his thighs, and he'll say, "Hello there. You don't look like you're from around here."
No, but we're just looking to stay for a couple nights.
Well, we have rooms here in the Cockerel.
All right. How much?
What? Yeah, what?
You have any
Well, just
slaves,
establishment
servants,
of-
other supplies?
Nope, just us.
Alrighty, and then would one room suit you fine?
Depends how big that room
is.
is.
2 double beds.
No.
Alright then, 2 rooms it is. And he'll walk over to the counter, he'll lift up a kind of a soft clay tablet, he'll, press his thumb into it, and then, put down 2 marks and begin to walk up the stairs. Come along.
Never mentioned how much this would be.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be a trifle for visiting Mithdosian judges.
I'm sure it's
Well-
not much just to mention the price.
Yeah, I'd like to know the price of what I'm buying.
An electrum a night.
Okay, how shabby does this place look?
By Corvus's standards, pretty shit.
Like, does Nectrum a Night seem like actual insane ripoff?
By
I was about to
Corvus's
say, can I
standards,
roll-
maybe.
Can I roll an insight check?
Sure, if you want. I'm gonna tell you though, you guys have literally, as far as I know, none of your characters have been outside the Mithdosian Empire, so any checks you make, I'm mostly gonna answer from your perspective, which is gonna be incredibly biased. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you have literally no fucking clue. These like lesser peoples, they have the weirdest fucking buildings. Like their buildings are all like crooked and compressed, and you have no idea. Also, their currency is weird. Like you have no idea, not even the slightest
Yeah.
clue. Maybe this is the nicest tavern in this entire city. You have no fucking clue.
Yeah, I'm sure.
all right. Well,
But he's already like walking up the stairs.
Electrum a Night for 2 rooms. Whatever.
I don't have
Doesn't sound
much
that
of a.
bad.
We don't have much of an option.
Wait.
He pauses at the top of the stairs.
Is it allowed if I was to pay with gold that you return change to me, or is this is that money changes guild here?
Of course, we have the Money Changers Guild.
And it's illegal for you to change the money to me, I presume.
Certainly is. I'm a member of the Bar Owners Guild. The whole guild would be penalized if I broke change.
Of course.
First time out of Mithdosica, huh?
Grass is always greener and such.
Well, you picked a good place. Zuri's nice and safe for you folk, especially compared to the rest of the Dellian League. If you went up north to the colonies, they'd be looking for the nearest, well. Anyways, let me show you your rooms.
There as well.
Do I know if what is it? You're supposed to haggle in Zuri, or
You have
that's
no
like
clue.
Alright.
Again, if any of you guys had like been world travelers or something, I'd be giving a lot more like leeway, but none of you guys have you just don't know anything.
We're totally world travelers. We've been on the world and we've traveled.
Yeah, the Mithdosian world.
I've killed people in Tabrash. I practically know.
I killed people in
It's the
3
same.
different countries. Oh
Yeah,
man.
come to the price in Western
promise.
Valros. Now do it.
Oh man. Yeah, that would be funny being like, yeah, well, yeah, I fought mercenaries from all over the world, so I've basically killed people all across the globe. I'm a world traveler. He'll lead you up to 2 rooms. The 2 rooms are connected by a door, so clearly this is meant for like a traveling group of people. There's a combined bathroom. He'll kind of like show you around the room. They're pretty cramped by Mithdosian standards. Also, this whole building is made out of wood, which by Mithdosian standards is psychotic. You would never build a whole building out of wood. You would use concrete or stone, or in very rare cases, metal reinforcements enchanted with magic. Like that's how
I'll ask about it. There's the weather here. It seems fairly arid. Are fires not an issue with the whole wood construction?
No, not here in Zuri. Over in Hago, Apar, then it can get dry enough for the city to spark at the lighting of a pipeweed or canab. But no, we get rain once every summer or so, and then the fall is, it's monsoon season.
Once every fall or so?
No, once every summer or so, and then during the fall it's monsoon, so we get a whole host of rain.
I guess.
Well, anyways, feel free to get comfortable in your rooms if you have any more questions for me. Also, if you are more comfortable in Mythos, I do speak a little bit of it. Just a little bit.
That's just fine, honestly.
He nods. Alright then.
I know in the cities... Oh, sorry. Where would a traveler go to just find out about the city, about where I can find what type of businesses and such?
No one in your group speaks Dellian.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Well, you could go to the Master of Ceremonies office and ask for a local guide. They'd probably assign you a poet, writer, someone who needs the money, and then you'd pay for the tour. Lots of them speak Common, a couple even speak Mythos. You could also walk the city yourself. Lots of signs are written in Common for you folk. We get lots of travelers. Those are probably your 2 best routes. Or if you'd like, I could get you combined with a fixer, but it would take probably the rest of today. It'd be tomorrow morning.
A fixer? What does that entail?
Just a local person who knows, has connections in the community, can get you meetings with people if you need them. I assume you're not here for pleasure.
Not particularly.
Most people who are carrying all of your equipment. He kind of gestures at Primius over in the corner wearing like fucking plate armor and like Rania carrying like a backpack and wearing battle mage robes. You guys are not tourists.
Fair enough. We are not tourists.
You can think about it. I'll be downstairs. We don't typically get a big rush of people until later in the evening.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll close the door, and the 4 of you can kind of explore your new quarters. There's 2 rooms with 2 beds in each, like 2 singles. It's all a bit shabby and cramped, and there is 1 window, and it looks out towards a back alleyway that smells like poop.
Oh, Poop Alley! Main attraction.
Alley Bog!
Let's fucking go! Alright, I'm going to, I guess...
The poop alley.
I need to check out this poop alley.
That one really got you, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it really did. Well, I was just gonna prop up one of my swords against the door, so in case so I could hear someone coming in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping.
Sure.
Sure.
What's our plan, folks?
So do you guys think we should go for the whatchamacallit? Should we go for the
Say again?
do you think we should go for the fixer or would you rather go for with the guide or just walk around? How would you guys like to approach the situation?
Well, I think we could pay for either. Why don't we just hire a starving poet who can understand us?
I don't know, I feel like we're just gonna get embellished garbage, aren't we? I mean, we're not here for poetry, are we?
No, but he's cheap and I don't want to pay him.
Both.
What exactly are you looking for in Zuri?
Probably like circles of educated people about magic, about the old Elven Empire, about the Golden Age of Dwarves, and about automata and necromancy. Just to cover all of our bases, really.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose we start with... Yeah. Granny or Zednius, what do you guys think? Where would you like to start?
Granny will decide. We'll follow your lead.
Wow.
Lead.
Yeah, alright.
Well, quite the indecisive bunch, huh?
Well, let's go to bed and just hire someone in the morning. We have enough money, it doesn't really matter.
Fair enough.
As long as it's not extortionate, I suppose. You guys go ahead without me. I need to look after. Just need to see a man about a horse.
What?
Be a man about a horse.
I'm taking a joke. I have something I'd like to do. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. You lift up Prometheus' sword and open up the door and head out into the black cockerel. Other than that, Prometheus starts to booby trap the roofs to make sure that, like, if anyone comes in, he'll hear them. And you head out onto the city streets of Zuri. You noticed when you first landed, it had like a bit of a smell to it, but now the smell is starting to kind of, like, it's not disappearing. It's getting more pungent. It's like the spices they use. It's the smell of the people. It's the sounds, like the wind wafting from. It's also poop alley. Yeah, that is a contributor. There's a lot of little things adding to the smell, and it seems to, here in the denser parts of the cities, it's more noticeable. It's not like, I mean, to you it would probably be bad, but like, you've been to Mithdosian cities that have very unique scents as well. Even much more negative ones like Flamium. That city smelled like fucking dying fish. But yeah, where to?
I like to find just a spot where I can cast a spell in a sec, so nobody will hopefully bother me.
Well, there's this alleyway behind the black cockerel that you could go into.
Yeah, let's do that, I guess.
All right, you walk into the poop alley. You walk into the
Really?
poop alley.
Am I overlooking the
is.
poop alley?
I would imagine not, but
It's the main character now. So I'm gonna send a sending spell to my uncle.
okay.
He'll say, due to business, I found myself in Surrey. When could I possibly meet you? Preferably later in the evening.
A couple of long seconds pass, and you start to worry that there won't be a reply. And then very slowly he says, "Go to the Department of Coin building here in the city." That's the whole message.
I guess I'll... Since I don't know where that is, I'm just gonna head out into like onto the main road and just start asking around.
Yeah, it's very easy. You are a Mythosian here, like, very clearly, and the Department of Coin is in the Mythosian embassy. So, you'll get pointed by various people just in the direction of the Mythosian quarter. It's not so much a quarter, it's a street. There is a single street that
And
contains...
on the way there, is
Yeah?
there a way I could, on the way there, grab like find a place where I could grab like a cloak, something I could like droop over myself to not be seen in Imperial Battle Mage robes the entire time?
That's going to require a more extensive makeover than just a cloak, because no one in the city streets is wearing a cloak. That would make you stand out more than... I mean, maybe not more, but it would make you stand out
maybe
quite
like,
a bit.
Maybe like an outfit that seems somewhat plausible for here, and a little knapsack that I can store my Imperial Battle Mage robes.
Yeah,
with.
sure. Drop like a silver to just buy like a nice swooping blue robe that's probably
I
meant
don't
to
have
be
any silver.
an electrum then if you want to overpay and not get change.
Yeah, I guess I'll overpay and get like myself a slightly nicer one.
All right, you get yourself a nice swooping blue robe that you kind of like wrap around yourself. It's meant to be folded and tied off, but you don't do any of that shit because you don't know their local fashions. So you're wearing basically like a bathrobe, and then you put your battle mage robes into your thing. It feels very uncharacteristic and weird. There's like wind going up your legs. It's very strange. You don't like it, especially because you're wearing boots as well. So it's all just very haphazard. But you head down the street and find yourself on the Mythosian Road. This contains the Mythosian Embassy, a small little garrison. It contains Department of Coin, Department of Magic, Department of War, Department of Faith, Department of Civility, all right next to each other. This road is just chock full of Mythosian buildings, including several legionnaires kind of like leaning on the like various doors of these buildings.
I guess it's time for me to wait and look around.
What are you looking for?
Stand in front of the Department of Coin.
Okay. Yeah. In the window, there is like 3 different languages explaining like what this building is essentially. Common, Mythos, and Dellian. Inside, you can see a single clerk and about 3 people. It's the smallest, least busy Department of Coin building you've ever seen. A legionnaire is like 6 feet away from you guarding the Department of War building, and he'll kind of look over you and give a nod and then return to kind of lazily looking out at the street. You watch a couple walk by you. They kind of look back, and then the guy looks away. It's a lot of waiting. You're not really sure what you're waiting for. You keep watching like people walk past you and wondering
Did he say
if...
meet me at or in? Am I misremembering?
He just said go to the Department of Coin building.
Okay, I guess I'll go inside.
Sure. You head inside. It's a narrow little lobby with a single bench. There's currently 3 people in line speaking to a clerk.
Right. Do I see anybody that looks familiar?
No.
I suppose I'll just I walk in, I look around, I walk out.
Okay.
Real fussy like.
Yeah. Real sussy like. Yeah, but you head out back onto the street. The like legionnaire who is kind of leaning 6 feet away. I mean, he doesn't. He looks at you like, oh, that's a little bit weird. But to you, it feels like a look of suspicion.
Fuck, my cover's busted. Alpha to Bravo, Alpha to Bravo!
As you're kind of lingering outside the thing, unsure of what to do, someone will kind of like step off the central road up onto the curve. You don't recognize him. He looks like a local Dellian. And he'll say, ah, cousin, it's good to see you. Come along.
When he walked up to me, did he seem to like target specifically me?
He did the thing where he was walking like straight along the road, and when he got 5 feet away from you, his like aggro started, and he walked right at you.
You know what?
Dang.
That
Aggro?
sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
He'll walk with you down the street, and he's like babbling. Like he's like, my mother's doing really well, you know, the weather, and he's just like talking about random shit. None of it means anything to you, really. He's also speaking in Mythos, which is notable because he does look like a native Dellian. And then once you get to the end of the street, like the end of the Mithdosian section, he'll continue his like kind of pace, but he'll switch to.
Is he armed?
You don't notice one clear. Like there's nothing openly displayed on him. No. But then he'll switch to common after you leave that street, and he'll say, "Is anyone following you?"
I'm not that I'm aware of. I'll check.
As you start to turn your head, he'll like reach up and like wrap an arm around your shoulder and say, "Don't look. That's obvious. We're going to go on a little walk."
Right.
And he guides you through the rat's nest that is Zuri on a series of like switchbacks and turnarounds and places where you could see someone if they were following you. This takes like 45 straight minutes until eventually he seems to be taking a more direct route now. Like he's no longer circling blocks, he's just walking in a straight line. And he guides you to a little 3-story building. They seem relatively common here in Zuri. It's made of a bit more sturdy construction. He goes to the first floor, you know, slams a knocker, and the door opens, and you see your aunt-in-law, I guess, your uncle's wife. You haven't seen her since the incident with the teleporting guy with the fucking flames. And she first sees the guy, and she looks kind of bored, and then she sees you, and her eyes widen, and she says, "Corvus, what are you doing here?"
I'm in town for business.
He didn't mention that. It's incredible. Please come in. And she kind of steps out of the way.
I'll come in.
Yeah.
I'll like step up and hug her.
Yeah, she'll hug you back. The guy that guided you here steps inside with you, and soon the two of you head into the living room, and she'll say to the person that brought you here, she'll say, Homros, how did you meet Corvus? And he'll just shrug and say, the master sent me to fetch him. No, that's all. And she nods. Ah, I see. Well, I think he's just wrapping up his work, so I'll let him know that you're here. I'm sure he'll leave it for later. And she quickly heads up the stairs, and a little bit later, your uncle descends the steps. He first doesn't look, he looks at you, but then he first looks towards the person who guided you here. That guy gives a nod, and then he walks over to you and opens up his arms.
I'll give him a hug.
Yeah, he gives you a hug, slaps your back a couple of times.
Doing well.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Homros, you're good to go.
How well you would settle in.
Yes, it's a nice house, and the other man kind of stands up to leave, and he'll sit down on the couch beside you. Relatively cheap, actually. Gotta love those Dellian League prices. You said business brought you here.
Yes. I'm here on business, as you know, my last occupation you're aware of.
Yes,
Hasn't changed.
I understand. What brings the judges to the Dellian League?
Are we in private?
He glances around. The front door opens and closes as Homros heads out. His wife is kind of you can hear her like in another part of the house humming. He will nod and say, "I think it's safe enough. I don't have a basement like I did in Solaire.
Well,
If you want, we can go to my office. It's been enchanted."
it's alright. Just being extra sure. I don't know if word has reached this far. Of something called the Beast of
It
Africa.
has.
Well, that's why I'm here.
Well,
It's
I won't
not
probe
looking
too
good.
much.
We're quite desperate for information.
Ah.
So we're here.
Do you think it's relevant to our cause at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well-
Things have been moving forward.
I won't probe you too much then. I only need to know what I need to know. What made you reach out?
Well, I happened to be in town and I thought it would be great to see how you're doing.
Ah,
Whether
I
it
see.
inconvenience
Oh,
you.
I understand. He'll kind of he'll leave the spy master brain behind and return to just being your uncle, and he'll kind of pat you on the shoulder and say, "Well, it's lovely to see you, Corvus, and I'm doing lovely. Here in Zuri, they don't have formal education, so my daughter and son both have a local wise man, I suppose, teaching them. I'm not exactly thrilled with it. I've been trying to import Mithdosian written textbooks to try to get them a proper education. But my wife loves it here, especially because I'm not employed at the Department of, anything anymore. I can spend a lot more time with her.
How come? Where do you work now?
I work at a local bank.
Ah, I see.
They call them counting
Okay,
houses
speaking
here
of
in the
bank.
league.
Speaking of bank, did the money reach you?
It did.
Good. I was honestly quite unsure. I was worried I would mess something up.
No, it worked well. And I'm glad you're here, because there is a piece of information I wanted to tell you, but I was uncomfortable sending it through written letter. The governor of Transpontar Solaria has come to our cause.
How so?
For the sake of not informing you of more than you need to know, suffice it to say that he has decided that a democratic Mithdosia would benefit him. And he's given us a large amount of coin to operate with.
I suppose it would help him out in the long run.
I think he sees himself as the presumptive leader of such a republic, a first consul or something like that. But don't worry, I don't intend to trade out one dictator for another.
I told you about the lad I ran into, right?
You did, yes.
He's very eager, and he was very open about it, and honestly, it's pure luck that he didn't get caught, honestly.
It is, actually.
Quite ridiculous.
I know I've told you this already, but there's been a protracted campaign of tearing out our cells, and I think Tullius is responsible.
I suspected as much. Zednius has seemed not unhappy recently. He seemed like he's doing well. Doesn't seem too worried. And he's been carrying a new sword that I have no idea where he got.
Well, rumors within the Imperial Court is that an active hunt is going on for the next heir to the Empire, and it's proved to be a difficult one indeed. I suspect that they'll likely come upon one of the current Emperor's grandsons in the Department of War. If that's the case, though, I suspect we'll see a quick assassination following. I mean, I'm sure you have suspected as much, but it's relatively obvious that the previous heir of the Empire was assassinated by, if not Tullius, some other member of the opposition to the Emperor.
I presumed as much.
I don't know how he did it, but I don't know who else could have.
But I know that he's a very resourceful man.
Well, I'm not sure how long you'll be in Zuri, but you could join us for dinner.
Neither am I.
I'm sure that the little ones would enjoy to see their cousin Corvus. I assume the rest of the judges are here in the city as well, right?
Yeah, we're staying at what was it called?
The Black Cockerel.
The Black Cockerel.
He kind of chuckles and says, "Oh, it's an interesting place, but all right."
Oh, we honestly just walked past, thought that sign was an explosion, and I guess we just kind of fell for it.
It's not a bad place. It's just it's known for being involved with the government. It's a front. They use it for smuggling, laundering money.
Oh dear. Oh, what have we gotten ourselves into?
Oh, I wouldn't worry about it. They still have to take customers. It's just, anyways. Well, if there's anything else I can help you with, feel free to let me know. Or if you just want to spend the rest of the night here, I'm not sure if the other judges would grow suspicious.
They would. I told them I'd be gone for a bit. Didn't tell them for what.
Oh, and let's go up to my office briefly.
Alright.
And he'll stand and head up the steps, and he's talked about some very, very sensitive information that he's felt pretty comfortable with, so I think it's a little bit of anxious that he feels the need to go to his enchanted room, but he'll head up the steps, open up a lead door, steel lined but lead on the interior door. Within the room you can see wards that are like easily visible in the interior. Whoever he hired to do these was a bit sloppy. Like, you should not see the glowing wards. You should be able to do them in a way where they're concealed, but whatever. I mean, it does the job. And he will guide you over to a safe, open it up, and within is the Vorpal sword you granted him, alongside 3 other little items that you did not give him. There's a necklace, a little tiara, and a large pearl. Operatives of ours in Mithdosica, since there's been an intense operations against us, I've also intensified some of our cells, specifically one in one of the allied principalities. I've moved to outright assassinations, and whenever they manage to get something from the targets of those killings, they send it along. This is only the start. At the bank that I work at, I have a treasure vault filled with about 15 more of them. I'm unsure of exactly what to do with it all.
Are you sure what these things are?
Roughly. Also, some of these are identifying. That necklace, for instance, was worn by the judge who was slain. I think that if I sent it out to one of our operatives, it would be located via magic. There's that one spell you told me about.
Judge who was slain.
Yes, it was a young man. He was stationed in Hujvasko, near the legions, and he had begun to narrow in on one of our cells. Either way, some of these objects are identifying, so I don't feel comfortable sending them back out to agents in the field, and if I sold them in the Hegel auction house, I think that Tullius, if not someone else, would start to put 2 and 2 together. Dead judges, and then their possessions appear in the auction house. It's a bit too obvious.
Indeed.
So, I have this and half a dozen other things, and the hoard's only growing.
I mean, I wouldn't really know how to... deal with that exactly.
You don't need to decide now. Just, you know magic better than I, so perhaps think on it.
Do you have like a written list of what they are? Or do you just keep it on your memory vault?
In my head.
Probably for the wisest. So what are they then? I'm curious.
He lifts up the pearl. This is a pearl of lesser power, I believe. He lifts up the necklace. This is a type of arcane focus. It was being used by one of those mages with innate magic in them. What's the word you used for them?
Sorcerer.
That one. And then this, and he lifts up the tiara. It's a headband of intellect. The ones in the vault are much more mundane items. Swords, shields, things like that, but equally as identifiable as these.
I see. I see the problem.
Exactly. I thought about melting some of them down, but I was told by someone that it would remove the magic completely, destroy the enchantment on them. So,
if you manage to, indeed, yes, I believe that's the case. Honestly, I'm not. How much do I know about other chanting items?
well, research it. Not to mention this sword. I mean, I'm not sure. Perhaps when we decide to move towards more open operations, we use these to tear the bandage off. You know, just arm an entire cell to the gills. Don't worry about locate objects anymore, but I think we're quite a few years away from that.
Yes, do we have that much time?
I don't know. I heard a rumor, and it is only just a rumor, that the health crystals keeping the Emperor alive are beginning to fail. If that's true, he has a year or two left to live. If it's true.
I want to explain why there has been movement for his successor.
You could explain it if Tully has heard the same rumor.
Thought his information network is vast enough.
There's also a third faction that I've been hearing stories about. Galenus, a bunch of old generals seem to have formed a sort of warriors club. I suspect if things went to chaos, they'd have the loyalty of the legions and likely attempt to make one of their own emperor.
Oh yeah, Galenus.
It's all getting
has been
a bit chaotic.
has been a bit cozy with the military types recently. But I just assume that was just his past. Maybe he knows something. Maybe he doesn't. He doesn't seem like the scheming type to me, though.
None of the men that are a part of this club seem the scheming type to me either. I mean, we're talking war heroes, Galenus, many other generals, legates, and the like. I would have thought they'd stay loyal to the Emperor, but War in the Plains has done a number on the legions. Their loyalty is beginning to crack at the seams. I'm going to use the governor of Transpontar Solaria to see if we can begin to bring some of them to our side. Some of them belong to old houses, like the Clan Viria or Clan Julia. Perhaps that could be a wedge that we could place between them and the military. I'm sorry to burden your thoughts with all of this. I'm sure that you have affairs as a judge to tend to.
Fortunately, I do.
You should head on back.
Alright,
He'll pat you on the shoulder and kind of lead you downstairs.
But not without not without having at least let's say I've released a glass of wine.
Yeah,
I haven't had time to relax for a bit.
His wife will accommodate that request very easily, and the three of you sip on wine, and she tells you about the differences between Zuri and Mythos. They've hired several servants, which she's found very interesting. There are Athnoeen in the city, which she's never seen a half-elf that looked like that before. She'll describe them at length. He'll talk about his job at the bank. It's all very normal stuff. And obviously he doesn't talk about any of the fucking spy shit. So it's all just a very normal, grounded conversation with your aunt and uncle. And eventually there will be a knock at the door. And the tutor alongside a bodyguard will bring back your cousins, so your little cousins. But at around that time is when your uncle will stand up as the kids start to come into the house, and he'll stretch a bit and say, "You probably should get headed back now."
Oh well. I guess I'll say hello and I'll say hello to the little rascals before they go to bed, and then I'll be on my way.
He gives a nod. And Yeah, it's a little, two little fellas, both under the age of 10. I think you very briefly saw them when you were in like at the house, because your uncle like ran to their bedroom and picked them up. But yeah, they're very happy to see you. They're happy to see that you're okay, because the last time they saw you, you were in a fucking burning building, and they were basically whisked away. And they will begin to yap about all the stuff they're doing at school, and your uncle will kind of lean down and just like pat them on the head to interrupt them and say, "Your cousin has to go do his work. He's still a servant of the Empire after all."
Wait. So can you quickly tell me like what each of them like are kind of into?
Yeah. At the moment,
Getting them a gift.
yeah, one of them is very into philosophy, and by philosophy, they're not like going crazy deep with it. They're just like learning Zurian history, because their tutor is very into that. I think his name is Okbanax. I think that's the name. He's super into philosophy and history and like dialogue and all that stuff. And the other little boy is very much into spears now. He fucking loves spears, because that's like the weapon of choice in Zuri, and so he's been learning how to stab things. Big spearhead. And your uncle will kind of more so guide the children away, and then eventually return to you and kind of shepherd you towards the door and say, "I hate to put you out like this, but I definitely don't want your fellow judges growing suspicious.
Oh.
Do you need to bring back something to explain where you've been?"
I'll be fine. I have these clothes.
He'll reach into he'll like go over to the coat rack, and he'll take out a little coin purse from his pocket and hand it over, and it's filled to the brim with Zurian coins, and he says, "Oh, you can always tell them you went to the money changer."
How much do I owe you?
"Nothing. I think I owe you a couple of million."
Well, those were never mine to begin with, but
Sure.
they're off the course.
He just smiles and gives you a final hug and kisses you on the forehead and says, "You're doing well."
Stay safe.
"I will."
But I'll make my way back to the something black cockerel.
Yeah, you got it. He got it. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I mean, Grandia is finally recovering from her seasickness, and yeah, you return to the Black Cockerel, and the party's reunited once again, and you guys can get some sleep. I don't know if anyone needed a short rest, but you can. I will say, getting sleep this night is shitty, because it is Shattering Day, so throughout the night, there are people are going to be celebrating and screaming and shouting and hooting and hollering. So sleeping's going to be rough, but you can do it.
Can we go hoot and holler and party?
If you'd like, yeah, you could go party in Zuri. Shit gets crazy.
So I guess that is
What are we doing in the morning? We're meeting with the fixer, I think.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, just meeting with a fixer, finding an archmage, all that shit.
Yeah, I'm balling out tonight.
Well then, Zednius, despite, like Corvus gets back just as night is falling and Primius is all nervous and guarding the doors, but you head out onto the city streets and it's wild. This is like the weirdest type of cultural immersion you've ever experienced, because you don't understand what anyone's saying. You don't understand what these traditions are. You don't understand any of this shit.
Hold on.
Yeah?
I'm gonna cast tongues so I will know what everyone's saying. So
How long
I'll be
does
able to
tongues
fit in
last
for at
for?
least. It's 1 hour. I have either 2 or 3 castings that I could do tonight.
I'm just
as long as I
picturing
can
you like
spell.
midway through a conversation with someone and then your tongues wears off and you
Hold
don't
on,
understand a
one
word.
second.
Yeah, hold on a second. I can't understand a word you're saying. Oh man, yeah. I mean, you get to like dive deep into the traditions of Zuri. You get like at the early part of the evening, the crowds kind of carry you along to the Agora, which is their large like debate stage where they're burning this giant effigy. It's like a 20-foot tall statue of wood that they're just like completely burning. Everyone's dancing in circles, celebrating. They're drinking lots and lots of alcohol. Then there's all these like recreations of ancient myths. So like fully naked men carrying like little whips run around and hit people in the back lightly. Then there's like people basically dancing in circles and then like screaming out certain words. Like there's all these bizarre fucking traditions, but most of them are relatively repetitive. So you're able to just kind of slot in. And once you speak Dellian and you get like 7 like cups of wine deep, you kind of start to blend in with the general Zurian populace. No longer do you have the pompous Mithdosian thing that makes you feel separate to the rest of them. Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't think you guys are gonna see Zednius tonight. You'll see him tomorrow morning. Yeah, but for the rest of you, outside you hear the sounds of drums and shouting and drinking and blah, 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 and get some sleep.
Been Death Week today.
Yeah. And when the sun rises the next day, Zednius is off in some random person's house, slowly rousing from slumber. And to the rest of you, the sun rises on a new year. It is January 1st of 1281. So, Zednius, you are currently, as your like head is throbbing and you start to wake up, you've used all your slots of tongues. I guess they've recharged because you took a short rest. And you kind of like bleary-eyed glance around, and you are in like the living room of some person's house. The front door is open. There's about 6 other people sprawled across furniture, the floor. One person sleeping on the kitchen table. You've no fucking idea where this is, who these people are, like how you got here. Your clothes are like a little bit torn, like the silks of your clothes are a bit torn. Like your sword is currently out of its scabbard, like completely revealed,
shit.
and the scabbard's sitting next to it, and the sword is like ever so slightly vibrating.
You said the sword is where?
It's
I
out of its
see it,
it's
right?
out of its
Not-
sheath right in front of you, and the sword is slightly vibrating.
I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna pick up.
Oh, I used
the
the last night,
closest,
obviously.
the closest cup.
Yeah,
And drink whatever's in it.
yeah. It's spit. It's like spit and wine
Oh
combined.
fuck! I'm gonna throw up a little, maybe.
Yeah, you feel bile start to rise, manage to catch it, and like pour out the rest of the cup onto the wooden floor.
Yeah, then I'll pick up the sword.
Yeah, the voice that comes out is the most hateful and venomous you've ever heard. You disgusting wretch! You spilled wine on me.
It was.
You are a vile blackguard.
happened last
You're not
night?
worthy of wielding me.
Yes, I am.
You're pathetic. You should have been removed from the service after you were done with Hetagal.
I brought Telkarel back. It was thanks to me. I can have a shattering day night, man.
You do nothing. An earthquake does more work than you.
And I'm gonna put him back in his scabbard.
You begin to sheath him. He says, "You've not bloodied me on blood, but you feed me why?" And then you put him in a sheath, and his voice goes quiet. Yeah, the front door is just gaping open. There's a couple people walking by in the street. Every like 4th person will glance into the door into this house and just see like 11 drunk people sprawled on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just hold my head and try and bear with. Is it sunny already?
Oh yeah, it's
am I
very
gonna
sunny
be like,
outside.
oh fuck. Okay, I know this feeling.
Oh yeah,
What do you do with this?
very familiar.
Yeah, I mean, like shield my eyes. Try to walk out there.
Yeah,
try
the
to
sun
do
bakes
mending,
down onto your
mending on my
skin.
clothes. I do need to do an int check for the mending, I think,
Yeah.
because of the item.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, you
My
managed
clothes
to
are-
reach across and start to mend the stitching, like just basically casting magic relatively openly in public, but it's kind of subtle. And a bit more importantly is that it wasn't like major tears. Also, shockingly, you're not missing anything. Like, you were a bit roughed up. You're not sure
Yeah.
how, but you're not like missing coin. You're not missing your sword. It was all on you. It's just, yeah, you're not sure. The events are not even blurry. They just don't exist. You were in the Agora celebrating the burning of the effigy, and then it's just all gone after that. And you have no idea where you are. This street is not familiar. You don't like, you can hear seagulls to your south, but that's not super helpful.
Okay. I have no idea how to get back to where we were, so
Yeah.
I am gonna go get a hangover remedy somewhere.
Okay, you walk up to a
What time were we supposed to meet the fixer?
morning was the thing. Yeah.
Well, I'll catch up with him.
Okay. Yeah, you just
Where-
walk to a random street food thing and just like communicate in the like kind of broken common because they don't barely speak common. So the two of you try to communicate, hello, I would like a hangover cure, and they're just like, Shmeep, like I don't know what you're talking about. But you'll be struggling with that for the morning. Permius,
Okay.
you wake up at like 6 or 7 a.m. A soldier's time.
Yeah.
Outside, you can still hear the last of the drunkards starting to fade away. There's still some people out there partying. Grania and Corvus are both asleep. Corvus has fallen asleep looking at his notes once again. And there is no Zednius either. Zednius is not in the room.
I think I saw him leave.
You did,
last
yeah.
night. So I guess I'll
That
shred.
up to.
Yeah, El Bozo.
All right.
I'll start my morning prayers, I guess.
Yeah. Slowly, Grania will probably be the first to wake, other than you, of course. And then a little bit while later, Corvus will rise.
I thought Grania was like a mega sleeper. Though.
She is, but Corvus stayed up until like the middle of the night working on notes. So,
True.
yeah. So at around like 10, they're both awake. Also, Corvus, as a reminder, you were told by your apprentice somewhere in Zuri there should be research notes and
Right.
the other thing.
Probably the Department of Magic.
One would imagine. But yeah, the three of you are awake. Zednius is nowhere to be found. It's around 10 a.m.
Well,
Time to get to work.
time to get to work. Should we wait
Wonder
for
where
our?
Zednius is.
Yeah. Should we wait for our federal judge to show up, or should we just get going?
Wait, we can expedite this.
It's true.
I'm gonna send him a sending.
Okay. What's the sending?
Zednius! Where are you? It's supposed to be at the Black Cockerel.
Where am I? What is?
You have no
there
fucking
sound
idea.
of-
You're on some
okay.
random street in a city you've never been to before.
Well, I guess I have to respond right now, right?
You do indeed.
Like, I'll just say I'll be there.
Okay.
And then I will
Yes.
grab somebody and
Yeah.
be like, What, fucking, I already forgot the name of the bar. Or the inn.
Black Cockerel, I just said it.
Never getting
Black
wrong.
Cockerel. Black Cockerel.
Yeah. The person you grabbed, it was like a pretty well-to-do looking guy, and you grab him on the arm, and he says, "Oh, Black Cockerel."
Yeah.
He clearly doesn't understand much else, but he just kind of points in their direction.
All right, and I'll make my way that way, and I'll press the digitize myself. I'll go into an alley and press the digitize myself clean.
Yeah, you learned a very neat little trick when you were undercover in the monastery, which is that, alcohol breath is a very dead giveaway that you've been partying, but if you press to digitize your mouth about 4 or 5 times, even that smell disappears. It's a very good way to go incognito about the fact that you got really fucking drunk. Yeah, that was a useful talent that you had. So yeah, you get yourself as cleaned up as you're going to get and start to work your way back. And you have to stop 3 or 4 more people to be like, where the fuck is the Black Cockerel? And some of them just don't know what you're talking about 50%, which is always very uncomfortable. But eventually you do walk down a familiar street and then you spot it. And it looks pretty empty. I mean, it's like 11 now. So it's pretty not popping.
Mm-hmm. But I'll walk right in, and I
Yeah.
assume the judges are downstairs.
I would
Or
imagine
that's
so
up
if
my
they're
room.
waiting. Yeah. You walk into the common room, they're both finishing they're all finishing up, or their breakfast is probably long since finished. Corvus is once again reviewing his notes, and you walk in, and honestly, the 3 of you guys glance up, and Zednius is looking pretty well put together. I mean, his posture's a little bit hunched, his eyes are a bit glassy, but his clothes are nice looking, not soiled. His breath smells normal. He's looking fine.
Just look at him. And then I'll just shut my like notebook as loud as possible.
Yeah, it's a painful noise for sure.
Do I see him wince?
I don't know. How put together is Zednius an hour after waking up?
Due to his frumentary training, he appears very well put together.
True. Please. Yeah, no reaction.
Say, oh. Well, where were you? I assumed you were getting drunk last night, but you don't seem that.
Well, I was partying, yes, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's Shattering Day. I was out. Sorry I'm late. I didn't have good directions.
Well,
But
Well,
anyway,
it's
this
not like
fixer.
we have. It's not like we have the fate of all of Mithdosica resting on our shoulders. That's, you know.
well, Mithdosian Empire, but yeah. Nah, it ain't that deep, huh?
That's the worst thing
I
I would
don't
ever
know
want to
what,
hear from an Imperial judge. It ain't that deep. Jesus Christ.
All right, let's go find that interpreter.
You guys can speak to the bar owner. He'll call you guys a fixer. It will take a little bit of time. Frankly, you probably could have done this while you were waiting for Zednia, so we'll just say you did to save a bit of time. And for the day, it's going to cost 5 gold, which is on the expensive end, but that's also the same price you'd pay for like a bodyguard for a day, or at least a good bodyguard.
How much? 5?
5 gold, yeah.
I got this. I pay in Zurian money.
Okay, yeah. You guys watch as he takes
Whoa.
out not the, you know, the jagged or the face of the emperor, which is on all Mithdosian gold coins. He takes out a coin that instead has a civic building on one side and the face of a philosopher on the other.
Interesting.
Changes everything.
It does. Holy shit. But yeah, he pays 5 gold and Zurian coin to the bartender, and yeah. By the time Zednius gets here, your fixer will arrive. The four of you are seated. Jesus Christ, the 4 of you are seated at. That was, yeah. 4 of you are seated at a table, and a man will walk into the bar with kind of like white hair. He has kind of black clothes on. They're not quite robes. In fact, his style doesn't look very Dellian at all. It looks more like city-state-ish. He's wearing like a little vest and shirt and all that stuff, and he kind of looks around the bar and walks over to the bar owner, and the two of them chat for a little bit, and then he walks over to your table and he says, "Hello, you're the folks I'm supposed to be showing around the city, I believe."
That's correct.
He extends a hand. Democritus.
Is that your real name?
I'll shake it firmly.
He shakes your hand and says, "Of course it's my real name."
Oh, so it's
I
just...
hate you, Alex. I fucking hate you.
Oh my god.
Get the fuck out of here.
What?
Is he a bard?
He's from another campaign.
No!
He'll shake Zednius' hand and then reach a hand out towards you, Corvus, and say, "It's a strange name for you Mithdosians, but here in the Dellian League, it's quite a usual one."
I was just wondering if it's like a type of alias you use for
Ah.
Mithdosian folk to
You're kind of
convey
correct. It's a portmanteau.
philosophy. Right.
He is speaking in Mythos, by the way. He's completely fluent in your language with basically no accent. But yeah, he'll shake your hand, Corvus, and then he'll extend a hand towards Grania.
I'll just kind of look down at it and look back up to him.
"It's a pleasure to meet you, young lady."
She'll nod.
"All right, then." And then he'll extend a hand towards Primius and say, "So which god decided to bring you back from hell?"
Emperor of Mithdosica, and don't mind her. She is mute.
Well, I think a lot more people in this world could serve to be mute. It'd save a lot of us a bit of hardship of having to hear them speak.
I see.
Crickets.
Well,
Did not land.
I hear that you wish to be shown around the city.
Indeed.
I happen to know a fair number of folk around here.
So where would you like to go?
You need to see an Archmagus.
Ah, this city doesn't have
yeah.
one.
Take
I
us to
thought
the
every
closest
city in
one.
the league would have one.
No, there is. You see that there was an arc. It's a complicated state of affairs. You see, back in the history of the Dellian League, there was and he's going to begin what is clearly about to be a very lengthy speech on the history of archmages in the Dellian League.
Oh no, he's
Do you cut him off?
Yes, yes, I cut him off.
He's in the middle of saying, and that's how we actually use the word arc rather than archmage. You see that we don't include the mage part because the mage part is implied by the word. It's actually kind of a participle if you think about
Stop.
it.
We just need to see one.
This city has no arc.
Then take us to one.
Does what was the city we arrived at? The smaller one, the port city that's basically connected.
Aphius doesn't have any either. The city has mages, but no arcs. Arcs are, it's a special title for a certain circle of spellcasting. There's one in Belza, Echiolin, Mendebaldian, Hago, Apar, Gladel, Goderluca. Not Zuri. The Zurians don't pay very much to their mages, you see. So they left and went to other cities that treat artists better. Or I guess in their case, mages better.
Where's the closest one?
If you only want an arc, and a normal mage does not suffice, Belza. But depending on the nature of your question, I'm rather well traveled. I can even cast some magic myself.
Oh. What type
Do you
of
know
magic
in-depth
do you
history
cast?
of the Elven Empire?
I know a couple of stories.
True stories?
Where do we find?
As true as any story.
From me, so no need to grill him. So, where would we find somebody who's studied on the Elven Empire and magic?
In the League, we don't have symposiums. We only have critical thinkers who pursue knowledge at their own expense. There are a couple of people in this city.
Jabba where?
Well, they don't. Sometimes they have debates, but elven topics are not as enjoyed around the League because of our experience with the Athnaween. But, as I said, I know a fair amount about things. If it's knowledge you seek, I'm not sure if you could have gotten a better fixer.
So, what can you tell us
About?
about arcane lattice work that translates energy into motion?
Roll an insight check.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like give him like a really dry but not tough.
Yeah,
but
7.
difficult question.
Yeah, he'll just nod. You're pretty sure he knows what you're talking about, and he'll say, "But yes, I'm familiar with the concept. Did you have any specific questions?"
I'll place the piece of bone on the table. Can you identify this?
I left my identification supplies at my house.
I have one right here.
Oh, well, I left my loot at my house as well, which is what I use for casting spells.
Ah,
If you have a musical instrument,
Oh,
you're one of
I'm
those.
sure we could find one in this bar.
yes, but his are always out of tune.
no, I don't have any.
Well, can you at least examine it and tell us the civilization of origin? Mayhaps narrow down our search.
He crouches down and looks at it and kind of spins it around and kind of strokes his beard and says, yes, yes,
Quite.
Let me roll a check. I know what his modifier is, so there's a
Yeah,
non-zero chance that he'll see it. Jesus Christ. Okay, he'll nod and say, Host Elvish.
What makes you say that?
It's a difficult topic to explain to a layman not educated in magic.
I am.
Well, I mean, God.
So am I.
I'm sure you'd understand, wizard, but, I mean, divine spellcaster, I mean, you know, they're not real
To me, a bard is
spellcasters.
not far from a divine spellcaster in terms of education.
Point being, you could explain it to him, so explain it.
Well, you can tell it's post-Elven because if you look at the Elvish here, do you speak Elvish? Can you read it?
I can, yeah.
All right. Do you notice how the past tense? So look at those little carvings. They're the arcane script, also known as the modified Elven script. You can see right there. There's a little hook at the end of that letter. You know what that means?
Do I?
You have no fucking idea. You're not even sure if he does. This could all be bullshit.
Oh, I'll just say. Can't say I do.
He says, well, that hook, that means post-consonant drift, which means post-fall of the Elven Empire, which means inspired by but not created by. Similar to all those derivative plays based off my work.
I'm sure that must happen all the time.
Real knee slapper that one was.
Tremius, come on.
Oh, my bad. That was out loud.
No, it's all right. You can't expect worshippers of Aurelian Soul to have much of a sense of humor. I mean, their entire faith is centered around worship. And then he kind of trails off, realizing the other three of you are also from Mythnosia. And he'll say, anyways, the point is that this shard is post-Elven, certainly.
Alright, so where could we find somebody who's... let's not say familiar, but acquainted with that. Sure.
You'd be well served by going to Illithyn Girth or Illithyn Dagar.
Sorry, who and where?
Illithyn Girth or Illithyn Dagar.
Where is he? Who is he?
They're cities out in the desert. Athnoline.
Oh.
Whoa, he just made you look so dumb.
Ennius on the side eating his little like breakfast snack.
I just got cooked! He made you look so dumb, bro. You're a fucking idiot, bro. No! I'm seething!
-5 rep.
-10 aura.
I wish Ethan was here so he could mold with me.
He hasn't even longer. He's been in 3 campaigns with the Muckerdist.
I know.
yeah.
He would be even like he would mold even harder
He
than
would.
me because
He
he's
would
so.
indeed.
What's the story with this guy?
He's just been in a bunch of campaigns because players keep going to Zuri, and he's a relatively like important person in the city. Important, not politically, but like culturally.
Culturally important, huh?
Yeah. He's also really
Has
fucking
he-
annoying.
Has he gone on the Defiance yet? Is
He
this
has, yeah.
post
This is
Defiance?
like this is like 6-7 years after the Defiance. This is when he's like, this is
Whoa.
his second career fall off.
That'd be. Oh my god. I want to somehow ask him about that, but there's no
Yeah, but you
possible way.
straight
any
up
of us-
cannot. Yeah. Anyways, he'll say, if you like, I know some of the dark folk who would probably be willing to take you out to their cousins in the desert.
Is he allowed to say that?
Probably not. Probably not. That doesn't sound, as a Mythosian, that sounds really bad.
Just don't call him, like, leaf ears or something, okay?
I don't understand.
Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, anyways, there's a couple from the tribe of Habal, I believe, that live in the slums that sometimes take travelers out to the desert. There's a good chance they'll kill and rob you, but you four seem the sort that could survive such an encounter. Maybe even write a good story afterward.
I'll just look over to, like, the other, like, is this guy serious?
All right. Well, it's not like we have any options. Is there anything else you could tell by the creator of this arcane work?
They're dead.
Really?
Okay.
Certainly.
Okay,
No
smart
living
guy.
person could write something this complicated.
What about a lich?
Well, they're dead.
I suppose you got me on that one. I walked right into that one.
Yes. Well, you Mithdosians are ill-equipped to fight in a battle of wits. You're far too used to your rules and bureaucracy. I was forged in the fires of public debate.
You were, huh?
Zuri in halftime. Anyways, if you prefer Ilithingar or Ilithingirth, let me know, because they're ruled by two rival religious factions that desperately hate the other. So if you go to one, the other one will be fully off the table. They'll certainly kill you if you go to both.
Is there a
Okay,
reason
how
you
about
would
something-
go to one rather than the other?
Oh, I don't know. I've never been. They'll kill me.
How about scholars in the city that could tell us something about this?
Zurians are not so much interested in the elves. If you go to the west, in Hago, they're obsessed with them, terrified that their slaves will rise up in their sleep and slit their throats.
Oh, I suppose that's as reasonable to be terrified as anything.
Especially so, since it already happened in a bar in Gladell.
Woohoo.
Oh, I wouldn't be so dismissive. You yourselves Mithdosians are slave owners. Imagine all of your slaves one day woke up and started slitting the throats of the closest pretty little senators that slept beside them.
They won't do that.
No,
No, of course not.
try I say.
They're not slaves. Get by their freedom.
No,
They like it.
they're indentured servants.
Yeah.
They have
Oh,
contracts.
no, they're not slaves, I swear! So many kind of slaves.
God, I remember that conversation in the Gela Isle arc where you guys went to some lumber yard and there's a bunch of slaves and Renesmee's like, this is horrible. And then the fucking, I think like the owner of the place was like, no, they're not slaves. They're just indentured servants for life. It's very different. And the party was like just trying to move past it. And they're like, no, it's fine, Renesmee, it's fine. Oh, man.
Fair, you have to have a very high IQ to know about how slavery works in the Dellians.
Oh, man.
Stop.
So, what are your thoughts?
Any scholars on the Dwarven civilization?
Yes.
The Golden Age.
Oh, no. No. I mean, no.
Don't they even have scholars that aren't into philosophy?
Well, have you thought about the fact that actually everything goes back to philosophy? The understanding of past civilizations is also in and of itself epistemology and understanding the truth. So a philosopher sort
If I
of is an
disintegrated you right now, would that be about philosophy?
No, but the counterspell would, because I would be making an ethical decision.
And ethical, I think you'd just be self-preserving, no?
But is that not ethical?
It just is.
I don't think I want to get into this right now. I think we should go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just shrug and say, if you are looking for scholarship on the dwarves, Gotorluka is the way to go. They're the closest to them. They were their greatest trading partner. They're the most interested in their everything. If you're looking for research on the elves, Ilithingirth, Ilithingar, this is the way to go. These cultures, there's a reason why they're so specialized. It's because they exalt these lost pasts. Here in Zuri, we exalt ourselves. We've no reason to study these long-dead civilizations. We take technology from others, and we repurpose it towards an ethical societal use.
All right.
Let's see then. So, I'm hearing is we either go to one place or the other. In the end, we'll be traveling somewhere or another. So, what can we do in the city that could make progress for us? Is there like a mage's guild then
No.
in the city?
Mages are, unlike in your land, they don't need to be registered. They are largely maintained by patronage from wealthy men. Most mages pursue whatever their specialty is while neglecting all other schools of magic. So we have a few in the city, but they're incredibly specialized into their niche. You're not going to find many experts of general arcane history, more so evocation, abjuration, etc.
What about necromancy?
No.
I assume is that outlawed here or just
Not
not
exactly.
seen?
Frowned upon. Kind of, stinky, as it were.
Thinking, of course.
If I were to tell you that Shard was infused with necromancy, could it tell you a little more of who the creator was?
Nope. I mean, I'll put it this way. There are myriad tales from the Daemon strife directly following the fall of the Elven Empire, but they feature basically every peoples that you can think of. There were humans, there were demons, there were dwarves. Any of these groups could have been responsible for this.
Do we tell him about the whole truth?
The what?
Do we tell him our mission objective?
Oh,
That sounds dangerous. I'd rather not know if it's going to get me stabbed.
don't
I know you
No,
Mythosians
asked
like your secrets.
yesterday. It's fine. We can tell him. I don't think this is gonna be a risk. And as I've heard, news has already traveled far enough. We are trying to find out as much as possible the beast of Adlia.
That's a good story.
It's also
I
very
wish it was
real.
just a story.
Well, sure, it is real. Whatever. Stories are real. All stories are real.
I suppose that's one way of
This-
looking at it.
This we suspect is a piece of the beast.
Scary.
So, we're looking for the creator, a very large necromancy-infused dragon made of metal.
Wild stuff. Good story.
Do you know who could have done such a thing post-Elven Empire?
I don't know. I mean, we don't even know a single state that existed following the fall of the Elven Empire. The only stories we have are of heroes and dames, and they're less than reliable.
What about the Golden Age doors and the... What are those people on the west... In the west, the Apep Empire?
Oh, yes. Well, the Apep is wrong time span, though I will say, I must admit one of my defects. My knowledge on them is limited. But, no, the Apep Empire is from the wrong time period. Not to mention, this isn't made out of bronze, so it certainly wasn't them. In fact, what is it? Is it
It's
Mithril?
Mithril and titanium.
Titanium?
Steel.
Okay, that's not the Apep Empire then. Golden Age, are we? No, I don't think so. I don't see any runes on there. They loved their runes.
Are you sure you don't want to try casting a spell on it? See if you could learn more?
You know, take out a flute he had in his pocket the whole time.
Wait,
and,
I'll say it might be dangerous.
Well, you've already cast Identify and... on it
Identify should
twice.
be fine. I'm just saying, don't try anything too deep on it.
Okay. And he'll take out a pearl, which he also had, and then he'll press the tip of the flute to the instrument, and it'll play a little ditty, real trap shit. And then his eyes will kind of flare up for a moment as he identifies it, and then he'll lean back and nod and say, "Oh, wow. That is quite horrifying. I don't like that one bit. Which one of you identified this?"
Me?
Ah, did you see the eyeballs looking back at you?
Yeah.
Very disconcerting. I've encountered one other item that worked that way. It was an iron coin bound to a hag. Very strange.
Oh, tell us more.
I think I just did.
Well, about... That's it? That's all you have to say about the hag?
Basically, she had an iron core, and I identified it. I saw her face looking back at me, same as this.
Interesting. Do you know where I could find out more? But really, we're looking for any leads at this point. We're about.
I would say Illithin Dagar or Illithin Girth. I mean, again, there is the risk of being horribly ambushed and murdered and robbed, etc., but I think you're tough enough cookies to handle it.
I suppose. And then a little side question. Where would I don't know how it works fully in Dellian League, but I assume is there such a thing as the Department of Magic who oversees magical items
No.
and their trade?
Private auctions. Held by anyone who wishes them. You're far from Mithdosica now. The one time I went to a
there any-
Mithdosian port, I wanted to hang myself from the ship I was on. It was miserable.
Well, that I can agree with.
No, you can just go to someone and ask to buy their item, like any civilized people. God, I was in Ravinium Harbor for 6 hours!
So where would I go to ask about buying stuff from people then?
I could ask around. What are you looking for?
There's no like central hub for this
No.
type of stuff, is there? Why do you have to be so decentralized? Well, I miss
Because I don't want to have to look at... Oh, you... Fucking Mithdosians. Your country is a testament to greed, evilness, and devilry.
Really? Say that again.
What are you going to do? Smite me?
Yes.
Well, then you would all be in a cell for at least a couple of days. So, consider that before you smite me.
Is
Your
that
life
it?
really worth? Is that really what your life is worth to you? Just insulting us? No, but we're not gonna kill you. Let's. This is stupid.
If you want something more centralized, you can go to Hago. It's the largest auction house in the league.
I see. Hakon, may I look at the map real quick?
Yeah. I think I gave you the names of all the cities. Let me know if any of them aren't. Actually, I can just look at my other monitor. I did give you all the names. Yippee.
Wrong continent.
Oh, I should also give you the labels of Illithin Dagar. Illithin Dagar is this one, and Girth is the eastern one.
I guess we could go to Hago.
think that's a
Hago
good
has an
idea.
Archmage, right?
They do indeed. He's inbred.
Does that show?
How much?
No.
That's
Okay.
At least 3 or 4 generations. He has one hell of a chin.
okay.
Just let him
recall
give you
asking.
tea, bro.
Yeah,
Just let him give you Dellian tea.
I suppose I am letting him give me Dellian tea. As long as I'm not poisoned.
Well, sounds like we have a plan.
Well, if you've got it all sorted out, there is one last matter.
Hmm.
He extends a hand towards Corvus and says, perhaps a tip?
Let me think.
I'm just
I'll
saying,
start
you're conducting a mission to save your people, and I just gave you a concrete lead on how to do it. That should be at least worth at least 25 gold.
I'll look at him.
$4,000.
I'll look at him and say, my tip for you is to recommend you to not to not insult the Empire people that work there. You know, but work for the government. Maybe don't insult the government we're working for. And then maybe you'll earn a tip at some point in your life. And I'll smile.
I won't forget your stinginess, because your name is, of course, Judge. I won't forget that, Judge.
I'll look him in the eyes and say, Corvus Arminius Sinius Viria. Good luck.
Viria? Gross. It sounds like virile. Ugh. Ugh. Ocean names. And he'll walk out of the bar.
I'm like...
Before he
I'm
leaves,
reaching for my
Yeah.
spellcasting focus.
Yeah,
Brandon
Granium?
will walk
I'll-
up whenever you're holding out his hand and just put the one gold piece in his hand and smile.
He'll close his finger around it and say, "Well, it's good to see that not all honor and chivalry is dead amongst Mithdosian society. You should let this young woman here be more of a face of your party, even if she is
The
mute."
flame licks across my fingers as I prepare to throw.
I'm gonna stop him, hold him back.
Yeah, you just reach out and like squench his finger, like put your hand over his finger, which is starting to like grow with flames. And Democritus says, "Well, I can tell I'm no longer wanted. I wish you luck with your quest and your little beast problem. Bye bye." And he leaves.
Dude, I hate that guy.
So do I. What the fuck?
Now he
Actually,
knows
thanks.
why the parties hate him. You've learned the lesson.
Could you imagine being in an entire campaign and that dude is next to you?
Jesus Christ. Open the
Uh,
open the floor beneath me so I can sink into nothingness.
oh, man.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah, but then 97 of us died, and so and he kind of just left and made a shitty play.
Yeah, it was pretty shitty. It was actually good, but it just wasn't. It did horrible.
It was actually the greatest play ever.
No, it was actually really bad. He, like, bombed super hard. That's why he has to do fucking give random advice to tourists. Yeah, so we have 3 different leads. I think 4, technically. Hago, Ilithindagar, Ilithingirth, or Goat or Luca if you want to go the Dwarvish angle and get out to, like, the Scourge. Is there a reason why you want to get, like, magical items?
Other than pure self-serving greed, no.
Well, I will say, they are
I
going
would
to be
like
very
go fight
expensive.
stuff for XP.
Fight stuff for XP based. Then in that case, the Scourge would probably be the way to go. Because you know there's like, they're non-sentient. Like they're not going to negotiate with you like the Ath and the Wheaton would. They would just try to kill you.
Sounds great.
Well, we could... Okay, what if we do a little wraparound?
Holy moly.
We go to Belzer, into Ilian Girth, then we venture a bit into this territory, back to Guadaluca, charter a boat to Hago, and then back to the Empire.
It's not a bad idea, actually. It's like every place.
I'd be lying
We
if I
skip
said
Elephant Dagar.
yeah. I'd be
Yeah,
lying
but you
if I
can only
said I
hit one or
didn't
the other,
want
so
to.
it's fine.
Yeah, and this one's more on the way.
Yeah?
And Belzer also has an Archmail guy.
Mm-hmm. True.
Thoughts?
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Yes.
How many? When was the Scourge one?
I think he was just thinking
after
about like
Elephant
dipping
Dagar.
inside and leaving.
Yeah, like I don't plan for the excursion to go that far into it because that
thinking
looks
like
real dangerous.
Like a this angle, maybe? I don't know if that's the exact route, but something like that.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad. It hits all the things. Cool.
And then if we have time for Hago, we have time for Hago. If we don't, we don't.
Yeah, also, I mean, you guys don't have that much money, so I don't really know how you're gonna buy magical items on the open market.
Well, let's be real. I'm hoping to find some
Heist.
on the way.
Oh, and then sell them. Oh, he's doing a bit of
Yes.
international violating of the Department of Magic rules. Ooh.
Hell yeah!
That's definitely
Fuck
illegal,
those
but
losers, stingy losers.
yeah, I mean that is illegal, but how are they gonna catch you? You know, so got him. Okay, cool. Well, it sounds like we're good to head to Belzer then, unless you want to stop by the Department of Magic and get those notes from your apprentice.
Yeah, I'd actually like to do that.
Cool.
That might be useful.
it is exactly as simple as you were hoping it would be, because there are benefits to centralization, as you have discovered. You go to the Department of Magic, you say, hey, any mail for me? And you say, I'm Corvus, etc. And they're like, yeah, it arrived a couple days ago. Here you go. And they give you it perfectly intact. You don't have to pay them. It just works. So you can add 1 progress to... you can add 1 progress to your spell research. Wait, no, 2 progress, because it was 2 weeks. You can add 2 progress to your spell research.
Huge. I'm halfway there.
Nice. And then the second thing you receive, this is going to take a bit longer to understand the full thrust of his argument, but essentially, even though you told him to spend most of his time researching, he just like didn't do that. He's clearly been spending his free time working on the ward stuff, and he's been focusing on one particular subcircle. Now, he can't read that, obviously. Like, he has no idea. This just isn't his expertise, but he's been working with some other people in the Department of Magic, and they found a spell that is viewed as like an archaic version of an existing spell that looks very similar to one of the circles. So his hypothesis is that, along with the other people helping him, which he credits in the letter, his hypothesis is that one of the circles creates a demiplane.
That's actually incredibly useful information, if it's true.
If it's true, yeah. It is him and a bunch of other, like, 3rd and 4th level wizards combining their brain power. But yeah, they don't know any details about the properties of the plane, because again, they're using, like, they found an archaic form of demiplane, like the spell, and they think it's similar, but that doesn't really explain anything else. But yeah, that means you maybe have 3 of 6. You have transpositional binding, mind shielding, and demiplane as 3 of the 6 subcircles.
That's huge, actually.
Yeah.
So knowing that, Corvus, what do you think the overall spell does with the information we have?
Sorry, we're halfway there. And halfway there is still
Did you guess?
infinitely far away from it.
Right, but guess.
Liberal.
I don't know. I can't.
No speculation for you, Blake.
Dang.
Are we taking a boat to Belter, or are we walking?
How far is it?
It's like 100 miles, I reckon. Let's measure it out and see if I'm right. Spot on. Holy shit. I'm a god.
It's almost it's like this. It's like you made this world.
It's almost like I made it. That's fucking weird, dude.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. By boat, it would take 2 days. By foot, it would take a lot longer. Technically, it is farther by boat, but again, you're walking, so.
I think we go by boat.
Okay.
Who?
I think that's up to 1 person. Granny, can you handle another boat ride?
She'll definitely have like a look of like, but then
can
she'll
get
nod
her
like, yeah, I guess.
You can get her some milk of the poppy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we can drag her the fuck up, but let's not.
I mean,
she's like
he's
a
right.
child.
When he's right, he's right. That is used as a cure for seasickness.
Yeah, I mean,
Would you
also
rather
use a
be high as
shotgun.
fuck the whole time?
Getting Grania
or
off the perk.
Grania on the perk 30?
Grania, would you like to do prescription opiates?
She probably doesn't know what they are, so if you recommend them, she'll take them.
Yeah, well, I'll get.
Because to her, it's
Grania
just like, hey, this is the thing to help you not feel
Yeah.
like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get Grania some milk of the poppy.
Okay.
I'm not sure this is a wise idea. I
won't
guess
get
that's up to me. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Well, you guys get a boat. You buy some milk of the poppy. The Dellian League, especially Zuri, has like almost no like drug laws, so it's very easy to do. And yeah, you can dose Grania with opium. And so, Grania,
Hell
the
yeah,
next 2
bro.
days are chill as hell. Wait, I just realized this is probably the first narcotic she's ever. Dude, why you're fucking with this poor girl's brain? Yeah,
She's had wine before, right?
yeah, that's not even remotely in the same universe as a sailor's dose of opium, because what it's designed to do is basically knock you out for the entire trip. Yeah, you basically just sleep for 2 days, Grania, and feel generally good throughout it.
Does the
With
fluttering one
withdrawals,
have any
with
sort
fucking-
of negative interaction with not being able to really communicate with me?
I think he's probably annoyed, but like, he also, through your empathic bond,
he
also
partakes.
gets the feeling of goodness. So it's like he's getting like contact high, basically. So he's probably chill as well.
Okay.
You also do need to pay for this boat because you're not taking a Mythosian one anymore. Actually, wait, you guys, because you were only here for a day, you could just hop on the boat that brought you here because they were going to Belza anyway. So never mind, you can do that for free. Okay, yeah, we can just kind of skip over 2 days of travel because this bay is very safe. There's no real pirates here. Cool. You guys spend the second and third days of the new year traveling on a boat to Belza. When you get to Belza, it is a totally different city. Like, Zuri is cramped, small. Belza is big. In fact, Belza is the second biggest city you've ever seen. Mythos is obviously the biggest by, like, insane amounts, but Belza is the second biggest. It has a massive harbor. It has dozens of warships, like, anchored, which is pretty similar in size to the Mythosian, like, naval bases that you've seen, like in Zuri, not Zuri, Nasius. I don't know why I said Zuri. And the city looks to be bustling with activity. Lots of people headed in and out of the city. A pretty diverse population. A lot more Athnaween here than you saw in Zuri, for instance. And when the ship captain drops you off, he'll give you a kind of similar warning he gave you the first time when he dropped you off in Zuri. He'll say, Lord Judges, we're not going to be coming back this way for a couple of months, so you're going to have to find other passage back to Mythos, and I'd be careful. Since the fall of the dictator, Belza has a bit of a reputation for scoundrels.
I'll nod and put my hand on his shoulder and say, "Thank you, Captain. You have done us a great service on these past few days."
His eye starts to water, and he kind of, like, covers his face, says, "Thank you, Your Holiness."
I forgot about the whole anything.
Yeah, I did too, Loki.
And he will, yeah, you guys head down the pier. No one asks for your papers or anything. It's very informal, as it was in Zuri. And you're in the great city of Belza. There's a lot more Sinvalin here, which I don't know if anyone speaks. Sinvalin is the half-elven language. Most signs come in Dellian, Common, and Sinvalin.
Nope.
Okay, well, then about half of all signs have, like, an illegible line on them.
I feel like Zetnius speaks Sinvalin.
I don't know if he does.
Yeah, actually I do.
Holy moly! Yeah. Well, Zetnius, you hear the language. I always forget you're half elf. You hear the language of your people being spoken by some people around the docks here.
What do they look like? Are they half elf?
They are about... Oh, yeah, I guess this would be the first time you guys have seen them. Walking around the docks, just living their lives, are Athnaween. They're about, on average, around 6'6" or 7 feet tall. They're very skinny, like very, very skinny. 110, 120 pounds, despite their height. Pitch black skin. Not like dark skin like some humans have, but like black as onyx, as obsidian, as like well-tilled earth. Very black. Some of them have tattoos that are like bright primary colors, like red or yellow. Most of them don't. Their hair is typically like braided, but that's also the Dellian style. They almost all wear Dellian clothing. Like, they seem to have largely integrated within the culture. And yeah, those are their main features. Oh, their eye colors are also very different. Like, they have like red, orange, blue, very like distinct and bright eye colors.
Interesting.
Yeah, you guys have seen a new clade of humanity, new humanoids.
Pogged. New humanoid just dropped.
But they're gonna kill
At least at the harbor, they seem to largely be ignoring you and focusing on their own lives.
That one looked at me funny.
Grania holding her purse. Oh no. All right, well,
this?
that was no. He said go to Luca afterwards to see if you can get any door floor.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that the place we want to avoid because it's shit?
It is shit, but they got door floor.
Information's information. And we're not here for pleasure, are we?
And XP.
Well, the XP is from the Scourge, probably.
I don't expect us to fight people in the city, I hope.
Oh.
Don't want to cause a diplomatic incident.
Also, you wouldn't live. It's a whole city.
that too.
No, that's not what I meant.
Presumably.
I meant going to fight for the Scourge.
Walks in to go to Luca, just starts killing commoners for 5 XP each.
Meteor swarming shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've heard that there is a
Do some
mage here in
spell
Belza. You've also heard that there are Athnaween, which could get you like passage to Illithingirth with a chance of robbing and killing you. So,
Huge.
how do we want to progress from here?
So how do we feel about getting robbed and killed?
Well, we'll first have to talk to the Archmagus that's here.
Inbred guy?
No, that was the one in Hago,
Yeah.
not the one in Belza.
Can't. Nah, Saj. Well, yeah, let's go see him.
Yeah, you basically just walk up to like random people and say Archmage, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about." And you just keep getting pointed higher and higher up the city. The city like slopes from the coastline upward, and of almost any city you've been to in your entire life, Rivinium is pretty close, but this has such clear class stratification. The docks are shit. The next level has some parks, still shit. Next level, a little bit more parks, a little bit nicer, some merchants, things like that. Basically, as you continue to incline up these long like thoroughfares that lead up slopes, the buildings to your left and right get nicer and nicer and nicer. Eventually, on your left is this colossal complex that you cannot even fathom what it's for. It looks like a palace, but like they don't have like an emperor here, so you have no idea what that building's even for. There's a bunch of sub-buildings next to it too. You have no idea what any of those are. There's some government shit. Then to the right of that are very nice houses. Like, even by Mythosian standards, these are very nice villas. They're also not villas. Like, in Mythosia, you guys like open-air courtyards and like houses that you can kind of go in and out of without all like the formality of opening doors and stuff. Here, they're much more in like the Western or Tebrashan tradition where they have discrete buildings with like backyards and stuff. And eventually here you ask another person, you get pointed towards a house. It's a nice mansion, and it has a little spiraling turret that looks a little bit like one of those like stereotypical Western Valerosan mage towers. It's very cute. It has a little cap on top. It's a very cute little mage tower attached to this otherwise normal house.
Interesting.
Well, let's head towards that.
Sure. Yeah, you just walk up to the front door.
Knock.
The door opens, and a tall Athnaween wearing very fine garb answers the door. He kind of looks down at you all and speaks in Cymbalin, which is gibberish to everyone except for Zednius. He says, "Greetings. What business do you have with the master of the house?"
We need to speak with him about... Wait, why do we need an Archmagus to inspect the runes?
Yes.
Yes,
Or
and possibly give us some information.
Translate some runes and provide information.
He nods, and then in common he says, "Follow me then," and he'll walk inside.
Right, follow him.
The entry hall of the mansion is quite large. In fact, it's a little bit too large for the exterior of what the house appeared to be. Like the ceilings are 40-foot ceilings when the building outside was only like 35 feet tall. Like there's beautiful golden sunlight coming in from the windows. When outside, it's a little bit overcast. There's a lot of inconsistencies that instantly like flag the moment you step inside. And as the last of you crosses the threshold, the door automatically closes behind you. The butler continues to walk, though.
Yeah, I'll keep going.
All right. He climbs a staircase on the right, and occasionally will glance over his shoulder to make sure you guys are still following. And again, this house is way too big. He'll lead you through a labyrinth of corridors until eventually you reach this large spiral staircase. And as you begin to climb this spiral staircase, you can catch glimpses outside the window. And sprawling in every direction are idyllic fields of daisies and flowers and lilacs. For you, Grania, looking out those windows feels like looking into the Feywood. I mean, there's nowhere else in the material world where you've seen such like to the horizon. It's just fields of flowers. But the butler continues to spiral upward, and you guys can begin to hear humming, like carrying down the spiral staircase. And eventually, he reaches the top and opens up a door, and then like steps to the side to allow you guys through.
All right, let's go in.
Yeah.
You step into a chamber that is
massive, 40 feet by 40 feet across, a massive telescope in the center, pointed towards a section of the sky which is pitch black compared to the rest of this space, like clearly magical, obviously. This is also filled with all sorts of little experiments, bubbling cauldrons, little creatures inside of vats which twitch with life, electrical like things which send out little whiffs of striking other pieces of metal. It is a wizard's dream, and in the center of it is a older man. With wizards, you can literally never tell. He looks in his 70s, but that can mean 700. And he has a little steel, like, skull cap affixed to his head. And he's stroking a beard, which goes to about his belly button. And he'll kind of glance over with a single eye towards you. He is human, yeah. And he wears these, like, billowing gray robes around him. And he has a chessboard in front of him, and he'll kind of lazily twist his hand, and you watch as his chair like lifts itself up into the air and then rotates to face you, and he'll say, "Hello."
Hello.
What do you want?
We're here on behalf of the Mithdosian Empire, and we seek your help identifying a piece of a creature called the Beast of Atlia.
How much are you paying?
How much are you seeking?
Couple million, probably.
Do we have something more valuable than that?
Oh?
A circle. Spell circle, the likes of which you might have seen before, but maybe you haven't.
You can't accept me to accept that type of payment without having even seen it.
I can show you part of it. And I'll pull out one of the 9 sheets of paper.
Yeah, it contains the subcircle that you think you've already cracked, the one on mind shielding. And he'll take a look at it. He can obviously see, like, in this 8th panel, or the 1/9 of the panel, you can see, like, the edge of the ring, so he can tell this is a part of a larger circle, and he'll kind of look at it for a couple moments and then glance up. Where'd you find it?
And a place that one of the first sightings of the Beast of Atlia.
I don't know. What is this beast you keep talking about?
Well, we need to make a deal before we go into detail.
Fine. You've tucked me in. He'll say, "I am Archlycus. Identify yourselves, and I'll summon up a contract. We all sign it. Our souls damned to eternity if we violate it, etc., etc."
Permius, Tiberius, Parisian, Verusian.
Lovely. This is your birth name, correct? Not some portmanteau?
It is.
Good. We need true names for the contract to have validity. My name was Lycus at birth. Continue. Next.
Corvus, Arminius, Cineas, Viria.
Excellent. Next.
Yes, Titus, Fabricia, Verusian.
That was your birth name?
No. Just Zednius.
Orphan?
Yes.
Makes sense. You've got the demeanor of one of those half-elves. All right, you. And he points at Grania.
Grania is going to look very confused
She's
because it's not her. She knows it's not her real name.
Right. You don't know your true name.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll just point at her and say, "Is she slow?"
No, she's mute.
Ah. A worse disability. Can't even cast spells.
She can.
Really? And Grania, he looks at you in a way that, like, only Tullius really does, which is, like, he's like, "Oh, that's an interesting," like, not as a human being, but as, like, a tool. He's like, "Oh, that's an interesting little factoid I just learned." Yeah, he kind of reassesses you and says, "Huh. Well, what's her true name?"
She'll sign. I don't know.
He'll look at those hands and then at the rest of you.
She says she doesn't know.
As far as we're aware, she goes by Grania.
It doesn't matter what she
Most of
goes
us?
by, you know that. All right. That's enough for the contract. I'm going to add an additional clause. And he snaps his fingers, and apparating the air behind him is a long, whirling scroll, very ostentatious. The top says, the contract between the Empire of Mithdosica and Archlycus of Beltza. And then basically in text it says, I will give them aid in discovering whatever information they wish about this object that they are to provide me with. In exchange, they will allow me to view this magical circle and also explain the secret of Grania, whatever the full name is, Grania ability to cast spells without speaking. And then there are signature places at the bottom, and his signature is already present.
Hold up, that was not part of the deal.
He says, it's been added.
Right? It does
I'd like
not
to do without
alter
it.
any further. Especially since none of us know the reason she's able to cast spells.
Tough.
Grania will sign, I can leave if that makes it easier for you guys to do this without me.
She says she can leave if you prefer that.
No, I'd rather have to know how she could cast spells.
And she'll sign, and I'll rather not ever disclose that.
She's not disclosing that.
Bit of an impasse we're at here then, and he has his chair lifted up, rotates back to the chessboard. You can
don't have to
leave.
fall through for that.
She'll get up to leave.
You were interested before you knew about her.
Yes, but there's a little concept in business called leverage, and you have none. If you recall, you've actually stepped within a demiplane. That is mine. So, since you are a captive audience, as it were, I think I'll extract what I think to be reasonable in exchange for helping you.
You saying you're not letting us leave?
Thought that was obvious.
Is he stopping Grania from leaving?
No, he's not. But when you go to pull on the door that opened up to let you into this chamber, it doesn't open.
We got myself into.
You just walked into the demiplane of a... That's all. Just a cheeky little... cheeky
We're
little
just so
foray.
used to the ones that are in the Mithdosica.
You
the
are
guys
used
have
to
no
normal
backs.
people, yeah.
Not fucking psychos like this guy.
This is what most really powerful mages outside of Mithdosica are like.
I mean,
It's
Okay.
easy to get a god complex.
Corvus
Yeah.
could easily see himself being like this.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, he's just back to playing a game of chess against himself, just waiting.
Huh?
How about a wager?
I'm not a fae. I'm good. I'll have what I asked for.
It's
Would you
nuts.
play chess against me just to pass the time then?
Either way, we can't. I've put up an invisible barrier between us now.
I didn't even see him cast a spell.
You didn't catch the
Neither did
spell.
I.
Oh, is this all a bunch of what is it? Glyph of whatevers.
He'll be. You haven't seen him cast any
Okay.
spells. He just gestured his finger to summon the scroll as well.
You're a wizard, right? Not a sorcerer?
He doesn't answer that.
Is Grania able to see through any cracks in the house or window or anything like that to see outside?
There are windows, yeah. In fact, you guys are in a giant glass observatory, so you can see around in all directions. It's an infinite plane of flowers as far as the eye can see, except for at one point in the sky above you that is a black void that the telescope is pointed at.
Okay.
Can I look through the telescope?
Telescope's next to him.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
What's
Grania's
the
going to
telescope?
attempt to far step out.
Interesting. Well, let me look up a quick spell. I need to read it when it happens in the process of spell casting. Okay, you go to cast Far Step. It does burn the spell slot, and then you are not teleported.
And it's not like I could tell something to happen that I could counterspell. It's just
No,
didn't
it's
happen.
not it's like a passive effect, not a active one. He doesn't even notice. No, I don't think anyone really does. It's just you go to activate the ability and just nothing happens.
Grania will attempt to Eldritch Blast the door. A second, then after that.
Interesting. Let me go look up.
Yeah, it hits the door and then like passes through as if it were made of smoke.
And then Granny will like reach out to do the same with her hand on the spot that it went through.
Rock solid.
You're
Okay.
willing to
She's gonna turn
willing
around
to
looking very concerned.
kill four Maximus is here with us, right?
Maximus is with you, yeah.
You're willing to kill 5 judges of the Mithodian Empire just for your personal curiosity?
I didn't say I was going to kill you.
Well, you're holding us captive.
That's true.
The ultimate, assuming we don't give you what you want,
I'll just
punishment,
wait.
you hold us captive.
If I'm forced to,
Granny,
I can just
Time-
force the
is time
information.
passing in the real world?
It is, but at a slower rate.
Granny will kind of come back to the table and just sign. As long as the contract, is he okay adding just that he can't disclose the information with anyone else?
She's asking if you're willing to agree not to disclose the information to anyone else.
I'll agree not to disclose it to any Mythosian. He sips out of
How can you
coffee.
How can you guarantee that information won't eventually get to anyone who is Mythosian?
I can't. I said I won't disclose it to any Mythosian.
Bro's practically a fae. That's crazy.
Practically. If he was an actual Fae, this would be a lot more reasonable, because then you could take advantage of
Yeah,
the Fae
'cause he-
weaknesses.
Because he's not like...
No, he's not arrogant
He's not
or vain or
mischievous, he's
stupid.
just
Yeah, he's just
straight
an
up,
asshole.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just straight up evil, this motherfucker.
Now that there's some negotiating happening, he'll have his chair lifted by invisible hands and spin to face you again. And he'll say, I understand why you would fear your fellow Mythosians. They're not exactly accommodating countrymen. So, how about this? I'll put this thing that you grant me, whatever little curiosity it is, in a memory vault for 5 years, at which point I can speak to it whoever I want. Would 5 years be sufficient for you to feel safe in your position?
Granny will shake her head no.
No. Fine. I can't disclose it to any Mythosians and 5 years.
Granny will shake her head no.
Ugh. I can't disclose it to any other humans.
Granny will ponder that one for a second.
Humanoid.
What about half-elves?
Half-elves
Yeah,
aren't human.
That's why I eroded it to humanoid.
That won't work for me, I'm afraid. There's a colleague of mine I wish to share this info with, and
He'll sign why.
it's interesting.
May
You
I
can
ask
share
who
it
the
with your colleague
is?
only,
That could work.
and your colleague can't share that information.
I can't make a deal on his behalf, you know that. Well, maybe you don't. Anyways, I'll agree to that. I can only contact... We'll put his true name in there. Of course.
What's
Does
his
that
name?
work for you?
Granny will sigh and look to the group and sign. I mean, she'll sign. I don't really want to, but if that's what you guys think will be the best way to get us out of here.
I'll nod.
He updates the contract, and at the bottom it says, Grania will inform, Archlycus as to the nature of how she can cast spells without speaking. He will only tell his colleague Archpelagius of Hago. And then, period at the end, signatures, his is already signed. He floats the contract over to you, and it hovers in front of each of you, a single floating pen holding against the text.
I'll sign it.
Alrighty.
Yep. Signed.
Cool.
I'll read it carefully again.
Yeah.
What's the exact wording?
Exact wording, basically it's along the lines of in exchange, basically,
Contract between the Mithosian Empire and Lycus of Belza. He will assist them with whatever information they need in regards to the ward or any other related topics. In exchange, they will give him access to this arcane ward for study. Additionally, the judge, Grania, will provide the information on how she can cast spells without speaking to Lycus, and he will only give that information to Pelagius of Hago.
Maybe.
Granny will sign. Since it's not my true name, do I still have to give him the information?
Oh, shrug.
She'll frown. And she'll sign, maybe next time keep tighter lips.
Or just knowing we're going in a demi plane.
Well, no, that wasn't the problem. It was him just blatantly saying, yeah, she doesn't need her voice cast spells.
It's true. He
I
did say
assume that was like not that crazy.
It is pretty
It is
crazy,
very
actually.
crazy. Considering that that's the component of almost every spell ever.
Yep. Anyways, so yeah, all four of you sign it. Then the contract kind of burns itself up, only the golden text remaining for a second, and then that too fades. And Lycus gestures again to you. Nothing really changes, but he says, all right, let's get this done with then.
I will pull out the bone shard from my pocket.
His eyes immediately start glowing, and he kind of squints.
I know that trick.
That's a hefty piece of magic.
We're looking for the beast that dropped this. The people in Mythosia are referring it to as the Beast of Atlia, which is where we found the runes and the beast itself.
Are you certain this thing's still alive?
Yes.
Alive? No.
Well, we don't certain that it was ever alive.
As in it was moving?
Yes.
Yes.
On first examination, it had aura of necromancy in addition to abjuration?
Yeah.
I scryed on it, and it looked back at me, interrupting the scrying.
He seems to largely be ignoring you, and he extends a hand, and Prometheus, you feel an invisible hand gently tug on the shard.
I'll let go.
Yeah, the invisible hand carries it and places it onto Lycus's hand, and he holds it up close, and then he reaches over to his desk, flips down one of those jeweler's glasses, and kind of looks at it very closely. Do you have any more of this?
There's more shards in the mountains.
This was the largest piece.
I'll buy it from you.
Why?
Oh, you're serious?
Yes.
Why do you want it?
This arcane lattice work is very advanced.
Well,
The dwarves are the only ones who have this type of channeling magic still accessible. They're specialists in abjuration, and I haven't seen anything within the last 1,000 years that has this level of complexity.
1 million gold.
The creator might be.
1 million gold? It's a bit outside my price points. Lucky bastards. All right. He floats the shard back over to you. So, sorry, I wasn't listening. What do you want to know about this thing?
Who the creator might be.
Anything about the creator and the creation you could tell us, including the whereabouts of either?
I suspect nothing that you don't already know.
We don't know a whole lot.
Yeah, we were very clueless about this one.
Well, it probably dates from the period shortly after the fall of the Elven Empire. Most likely human in origin. It was probably from a proto-culture that no longer exists. It certainly wasn't the dwarves. It wasn't the elves, which leaves largely humans, as I said. As for what the creature's attached to, I couldn't say. I've never seen anything quite like it. It almost doesn't seem human. No human material culture had, what was that, titanium?
Titanium, mithril, and steel.
Well, they didn't even have access to titanium. They certainly don't have access to that alloy, whatever it is. That doesn't even sound dwarvish in origin. That sounds... Was it recovered near an elven ruin?
Not that we know of.
Yeah.
It's anachron... I'm assuming you've gone to other experts about this and had mixed answers.
Yes.
I understand why. It's a fundamentally anachronistic piece. The material culture indicates elvish. The text indicates human. Oh.
What?
He stands up and walks over to a section of bookshelves. He pulls a scroll off the shelf and flips through it, and he basically ignores you for the next 15 minutes. He's just going through his library. Eventually, though, he pauses and walks back over. Is this beast a dragon?
We believe so.
We think so.
That would explain all of it. This is dragon made. That is... You're sure you won't sell it?
At least not for a while.
Well, I suspect the reason you've been having trouble is because it's not made by any material culture. It's not made by dwarves, it's not made by elves, it's not made by humans, it's made by dragons. That would explain everything. They got the material information from elven ruins. They used some alloy the elves must have devised. They copied human arcane work from just after the fall of the elves. So if a dragon made it, I mean, this could date from 100 years ago. It could date from 4,000 years ago. It could be any of that time, since dragons are immortal.
But dragons aren't on Eastern Valoros.
Well, clearly they are, because they made this. Or at least one of them did. Again, it doesn't make sense any other way. You've heard the facts. How else would you square them? It can't be humans, because they didn't have metallurgy this advanced. They had bronze and stones by the time they had arcane of this level. Can't be the elves, because that arcane script is too devolved to be elvish. Can't be the dwarves, because they didn't have either of these.
But dragons are massive. How could they make lattice work this small?
They can change their size at will. Do you Mithdosians not get any sort of monstrology education?
No, it's awful.
Well, they can polymorph at will, even the small ones. There's also been rumors of other dragons in Eastern Valoros. Rumors, of course, but seeing this, perhaps not just rumors.
What made you realize that was the case?
Do you have the Draconomicon in Mythosia, a copy at least?
I don't think so.
Good God! I forget how restrictive and primitive your arcane system is. I'm certain you do, but it's probably buried in some laboratory. It's the origin story of dragons, largely believed to be false, but it contains some historical and specifically arcane insights that indicate towards its authenticity. It states that dragons came into being after the fall of the Elven Empire, which is contrasted by many of the folk stories that speak of them existing before, but I'll take evidence over folk stories any day. And this here seems to indicate that one of these first dragons that came through went to Elven ruins, learned their metallurgy, went to human communities, learned their spell casting, made this for itself.
It covered itself in metal?
How do we know it could have been another dragon that did it to it? Do you understand? It doesn't have to be the same dragon carving itself, but it could be the same dragon doing it to itself. I mean, stranger things have happened. Oh, but it is a dragon. I can tell you that. I'd bet my robe on it.
Do you know what kind?
No, of course not.
Do you know of bronze dragons?
I'm aware of all the speculated types, but other than red and blue, none of them have been observed with any level of authenticity. The Draconomicon states all the different colors that it believed came through, but it even gives them names. But it's nothing. It's puff. Only the arcane script contained within there is of any value.
Well, I guess the next thing to do is to show you the magic circle to explain further.
Yes, we can do a trade. I assume this is your sole copy of this sword?
Yeah. Yes.
I will have one of my scribes copy it. You can read the Draconomicon while you wait.
Well, I do have to explain a little backstory to ask you further questions.
I'll need to read it first.
All right. I guess I'll...
Yeah, Corvus, as you're like holding your clutch of papers, you'll feel an invisible hand tug at the stack lightly.
I'll hesitantly release it.
Yeah, very gently, each of the ward papers is carried over to a writing table and splayed out, and instantly 4 writing tables all begin the slow work of copying each of the sheets. Lycus himself will go over and look at the original, and the copy of the Draconomicon scroll will float into whoever's hands are open, basically.
Lycus, may I ask you something?
His back is to you, but he kind of speaks across the observatory. What?
What circle of magic have you achieved?
9th.
You're serious?
He pauses and glances over his shoulder. Yes?
How old are you?
That's a rude question. And he returns to his ward. That, I think you get the sense that while it was like a lazy attempt at humor, it was actually he just didn't want to tell you, because that's like actually very useful information if you know. Like yes, it was not just like a Marvel joke. It was actually him trying not to tell you that information.
I'll message Corvus with the cantrip that he did mention he hadn't seen something like this in over 1,000 years. So there's a piece of kind of.
How do we find out about this person?
Literally, you were just told that Belza has a random archmage. That's all you were told.
Yeah, we literally just pulled up.
Yeah, you pulled up and said,
We lived
hello.
here very publicly and pulled up.
He's willing out to give out information of his spell capabilities. I feel like he should be more well known, sought after, feared, etc.
I mean, he probably
Yeah,
is
I
if
feel
people just let him vibe at a major city. Most wizards of this power level have to like hide in the countryside and shit because people get scared of them.
Hmm.
But
I mean, understandably so. This guy could do crazy shit.
the Draconomicon will float into, I guess, Corvus's hands. It is a scroll written entirely in a language none of you can read.
Oh, that's
Does it
unfortunate.
look like
language
Dellian?
is that?
It does not look like that. It looks like scratch marks. It looks like chicken scratch.
What script is this?
You don't recognize it.
No, I'm
I think he's
asking.
asking.
Oh. He'll say, oh, it's Draconic.
You speak Draconic?
No.
None of us.
I have
read
comprehend
the
languages.
Draconic.
Do you not?
No.
He kind of turns around and looks like revolted. What?
It's the. I know it's disgusting, but as you might be able to see by my robes, I'm limited.
Do you want me
on
to
what I'm
read it to
able
you?
I doubt you'll want to or have the time for it.
Correct.
Do you?
He sighs very heavily. It lifts the invisible hand, pulls the Draconomicon out of your hand, floats it over to a writing table near all of you, and another hand begins to scribe the translation into common next to it. It's kind of slow work because Draconic is just not ever meant to be translated to common. You also get the sense that the original was like an epic poem, so it had like internal rhyming scheme and all this complicated shit. All of that is getting stripped away. This is a like literal translation, so use that as your caveat as I say this. But all right, so this is the story that this poem tells. It says that for eons the dragons remained on the plane of fire. However, a war broke out amongst 2 tribes of dragons, which drove them to seek new places. They each delved into a different plane, and slowly their bodies shifted and morphed to the places that they now lived, but the fire remained inside of them. They grew vast and large, but they found that these planes could only support them to a certain size, and that their territories could only ever grow so large before it stopped. Then, one of each of the colors managed to slip through the boundaries of the elves into Valeros, where they found their expansion and their hunger could grow boundlessly. Among these was Beridad the red, Alakast the blue, Periite the green, Kovash the bronze, Albanax the black, Salanax the white, Maragon the brass, Lemedon the copper, Aranax the gold, and Faranax the silver. Each of these battled and fought, determining the territories and orders until only the mighty remained and the rest were forced to flee. Then it has a spell at the bottom, which is what he was talking about before, which is a modified version of a plane shift spell.
Interesting.
I can copy any of those names if you want a reminder. That was a whole bunch of proper nouns, about 11 of them.
What? How much of this is credible?
He speaks over his shoulder and says, only the spell. Well, and I suppose Beridad and Alakast, we know that those are real dragons, and those names are as presented.
What about the bronze one?
He makes a
The beast of
dismissive
Atri
gesture.
appears to be a bronze dragon.
I've never heard of a Kovash, but I'm also not an archaeologist.
Have you heard of plasma?
That's a made-up word.
I guarantee you it's not, and it's
Well,
Part of the
I guess
reason why.
aren't all words made up at some point by somebody?
For the first time, he looks over with a slight smile on his face and he says, you're right about that. And he returns to looking at the ward.
Dragon spewed something that was so hot it was almost liquid, and it was called plasma.
The dwarves have a name for red dragon breath. They call it napalm. I suspect it's probably similar for every brood of dragon.
I suppose.
this is different.
Yeah, we know what
it's different
napalm is.
We know what napalm is.
I use that shit all the time.
Me, when I walk into a Tabrashan village.
Hell yeah.
When it was first encountered, it turned someone to ash with its breath, not burning them, like disintegrating them.
Yeah, he just keeps looking at the thing. He doesn't really have anything to add to that.
How do you further explain?
I don't think he needs further explanation.
Yeah, maybe not.
Or once.
I guess we wait.
Yeah, you continue to peruse the Draconomicon, and I feel like later you're going to ask me what the names were, so I'm just going to put them now
I was
while
gonna
my notes
say,
are out.
put them down.
So we have Beridad, the red, Alakast, the blue, Periite, the green, Kovash, the bronze, Albanax, the black, Salanax, the white, Maragon, the brass, Lemedon, the copper, Aranax, the gold, Aranax, the silver. Yeah, he will continue to look at this ward in basically total silence for a while. And I mean, they're scribing the entire copy. And eventually, an invisible hand will carry over your sheaf of 9 papers composing the original, and he'll walk back over and sit down in his chair and kind of stretch a little bit. That is a very nifty piece of spellcraft. How many did you find?
One, but more adventurers in the mountains have alluded that they've found more.
There's probably at least 9.
What makes you say that?
And the Outer Ring uses an ancient, archaic word to refer to a number of other ones. It could be misreading, though. It could be a 6.
What can you tell us about what
What do they
the
mean?
spell circle does?
I couldn't say. It's all very archaic. I'd have to pull out my old spell books from the Daemon Strife and probably take a couple of months, and that was not in our agreement.
What was the exact wording of the agreement, Alex?
He would just help you. It's very vague.
I'll point to the respective circles and say, would you, these subcircles, so far what we've found that we believe might be the case is that one of them is about physically warding something, while the other is teleportation in between these circles, and the last one might simply be a tool against detection and accurate scribing. Well, not scribing, but accurate scrying. And what did my apprentice say again?
Demiplane?
And when all of them is likely a demiplane, do you think does that line up with your quick glance?
I didn't get that deep into it. I would say that it's probably some sort of distributed ley line glyph, though, I would suspect.
Would it be possible to predict where something appears along these ley lines?
Almost certainly, if you had access to the original blueprint, but by the time of the post-Daemon Strife period, all elven sense of geometry was given up upon, and almost every single culture developed their own geometrics for ley lines, so it's functionally random.
What strife?
The Daemon Strife?
What's the Daemon Strife? How come?
The period of history following the collapse of the Elven Empire, where for 1,000 years demons reigned over the world.
Right.
But anyways, they're going to use basically whatever geometric shape they want, so I wouldn't worry too much about trying to predict it.
I see.
Now, I believe the second part of our agreement is in order.
Am I allowed to ask what the contract specifically said about my terms?
Yeah, it just said your name or whatever, would inform him how you could cast spells without speaking, and then he would only tell his colleague Pelagius in Hago. Yeah.
Okay. Then I will sign through another being.
Who's going to translate that?
I will. Through another being.
Wait, hold on. Why would you have to translate it? He just told her.
He did
got
translate
fucked?
it, yeah.
He already translated it. You didn't stop him.
Fuck! You didn't have to.
He'll slowly nod. More boring than I was hoping. What a waste. Well, I think we've concluded our business. Goodbye. And I'll rotate his chair back towards the chessboard.
Alright, I think, yeah, I do actually want to leave.
And yeah, we'll be first out the door.
Yeah, the door opens up, and instantly, you don't walk through the rest of the mansion, you are just instantly at the outside of the mansion, and back out on the street.
And confident enough in casting Legends lore.
You want me to cast Legend Lore?
I think so.
On what object?
I'll hold up the bone shard.
Shouldn't we wait?
Okay.
There's no reason we have to do it right now, no?
Are there any ways to talk to dragons without them just murdering you?
There are stories of people speaking to red and blue dragons in the past, but it's almost always personality based on the dragon themselves. For example, in one of Von Dy's memoirs, he recounts an encounter with a dragon called Fiery Death, or Rageful Fiery Death, something like that. And it literally just walked up and talked to him, basically. It flew down in the middle of the desert and just started conversing with him. He did nothing. It was purely the dragon being a chill ass fiber.
Okay.
So in
I'd
your
be down
case,
to try that,
the
but
beast
there's
doesn't seem
literally
very
no way I
chill.
can think to try it. Yeah. But another
Doesn't seem
dragon
chill
would
as
also
well.
Oh,
be
sure.
a strong, like if we talk to another dragon, they would probably have more info.
Probably, but it's like a. You know what, base? Walk into the Pillar of Aluthmon and go talk to Baradad. That'd be based as fuck. Just go for it.
I still can't believe that guy woke up, flew 200 feet, and then went back to sleep.
He threw 200 miles. Thank you very much. And yes, then he did go back to sleep. Yeah, woke up, destroyed a civilization, and went back to bed. My king.
Who did?
Baradad the Beast. Basically, back in 1276, when the twin-tailed comet was going through the sky, Baradad woke up. In the process of waking up, destroyed the entire Dorver civilization in the Blue Mountains, the Vorn Mountains, and then flew about 300 miles with just the wake of his passage, destroying a bunch of other cities in a place called the Water Confederation. And then he just went back to bed after about like a couple days. He was up for like 3 days, and then he went back to bed.
Oh, it's just like Deathwing, for real, for real.
So true. But yeah, every 1,000 years or so, he just wakes up for a couple days, fucks some ruins in tyrant civilizations, and goes back to sleep.
Beast. So we think it's a copper dragon, right? Or bronze?
Bronze.
I forgot. Bronze. Okay.
It's
So
titanium.
I don't know what else would we need for a legend lore. Like if we have this scale, we have Kovash the bronze. We've got location. We've got eyewitness.
Actually, may I could try something. Something stupid, but I could try to send a sending to Kovash the Bronze.
Holy shit.
The thing, I feel like he's not on the same plane as us, but you can
Yes, that's what I
Well,
was thinking.
If that's the idea, then why did
Well,
the scrying work?
I will say, sending works across planes.
try. Oh,
It's
yeah.
not guaranteed.
No, it's not guaranteed, but it's a 95% chance, which is pretty fucking good.
You know
Alright.
what? Fuck it, we
Send
ball.
it.
Okay. I would like you to very carefully word out your 25 words before. Like, don't do this one on the fly.
I'm writing these down.
Okay.
Like I'm carefully crafting these before I cast the spell.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Could you imagine you're like one of the most powerful beings on the planet and you get some sending from a random wizard going, hello?
You waste like 4 words saying, is this on? Is this on?
Is this mic on?
Dude, I would freak it. I'm teleporting to that wizard and killing him immediately. You're right, though, Blake. Ethan would have loved this session. He loves Democritus. Parentheses, wanted to murder him multiple times. Oh, man. While Corvus is working on that, what's your favorite Democritus story, Blake? From Voyages.
I like when he was talking to Snort and he was sitting on the beach and he was like, I've been practicing my water painting. I've grown quite a taste for it. I think I've adapted my skills quite well. And then he showed it to Snort and it was just like the most kindergarten looking thing, like.
Yeah.
And then I drew it.
Yeah,
and then I drew it in MS Paint.
It's just like a stick figure on the fucking horizon. God, yeah, that shit, dude. Your little art there was so fucking good. Oh man, stick figure Snort on the horizon. God, it was such a beautiful scene too, because it's like the sun was setting, the two of them were on the beach alone, and then he just paints a fucking stick figure and says like he was trying to have like a paint me like one of your French girls moment. It was so bad. Oh man, yeah, gotta love Democritus. Yeah, and also, dude, God, just during the epilogue of the campaign when I was going through like all the different stories and stuff of like all the different characters, I get to Democritus, I'm like, and he wrote his play that he'd been trying to write for years, and then it flopped. Just like goes fucking horribly. I fucking love that guy, man.
I also like when Brutal was about to be like crucified and Democritus stepped in front of everyone. He's like, wait, my client pleads silence under the third decree.
Yeah, Zuri, yeah, using Zurian law. Okay. Great Ronzin 1. In the name of the Mythosian Empire, request an audience about your presence in the Atlian Mountains, Corvus Sinius Viria. How many words is that?
Exactly 25.
Okay. Give me a moment.
Oh shit.
I need to count out the words.
24.
I didn't expect a response.
Oh, you're getting a response, buddy. But well, you do have to roll D100. But I'm pretty sure you're getting a response.
You explode.
No, it's for the. It's actually I'll roll. I should roll it. Okay,
28.
it's fine. Yeah, cool.
Oh, we didn't there.
That one really got me.
My penis exploded. No.
That'd be such a funny spell. If,
Take your
like,
attention.
it's just a sending spell, but there's a 5% chance your penis implodes.
Testicular torsion.
It's just, what a weird side effect that has nothing to do with this.
Oh, last thing before I give the reply. Chowder said his favorite moment was when Democritus only took meals for payment instead of gold because he didn't know that like pirates got paid money for a month. Okay, the reply comes like this. So you cast this spell, Corvus, and everyone else is looking at you, but you're mostly expecting this to fail because of there's 1,000 reasons why. I mean, you couldn't even scry on him, so you expect a spell like that would also stop this. But then the reply comes. I do not know you. I am dying. Lemedon has killed me. If men still live, I must warn you. Reignite the glyphs, or doom.
Holy shit.
Could I have a written version of that?
You may.
That's actually huge.
No.
Your character didn't remember it. You forgore.
Lemedon the Copper, huh?
Reignite the glyphs. I don't know what that means.
I have an idea what it means.
I think you need to cast Sending to Kato.
Lemedon.
Lemedon?
Fucking
Off the food chain, bro.
That would be so
Just message
funny.
all the primordial
Hey, Lemedon,
dragons.
so we talked to your buddy, and apparently you killed him.
Can you stop killing people? It's really rude.
Killing people is wrong.
Dude, give Granny a
Remember,
sending scroll,
the
and this whole
actions.
dude, give Granny 3 sending scrolls, and world peace will be achieved. Nothing is wrong. Please stop.
Hawk no Jutsu
Okay.
Grania.
Who you sending?
What? I'm not sending a
Oh, you're not going to cast another sending spell. Okay. I thought you were gonna
mentioned
contact Kato.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Echo?
Sorry, what?
I thought you were gonna send this breakthrough to Kato.
No?
Okay. Well then, I think
spend that
that-
many spell slots when I'm about to go into a dangerous excursion. Unless
Well,
we're
it's true,
not
but
doing that.
essentially this interaction confirms that bronze and copper dragons are real.
Well, I think that it
Or
confirms
somebody's
this whole
pretending
list
to
is
be
real.
anything.
it does seem
Yeah.
to confirm that. Yeah. Because 2 of them you know for a fact are real, and the other 2 just confirm themselves. Also, it means Kovash is alive somewhere, not on this plane.
There's a person that named themselves after the legend, so it's just a random guy fucking with you.
Dude, that would be so fucking funny. Oh my
That's what I was
god.
thinking immediately. Like, what if
Hey,
this is a fucking
Kato?
Giga Troll?
This is a. Hey, Kato, you know all the dragons in the Dragonomicon? Yeah, they're all real, and the bronze ones, that's the bronze one. It's
Yeah.
real.
Wants something good though, maybe? Who the fuck knows? Anyways, we don't have enough time to deal with all this, so I think that's where we'll end it. As Corvus speaks the word to the rest of the party, the final warning: reignite the glyphs or doom. That is where we'll end this week's session, and we'll pick it up next time. Maybe a week, maybe 2, maybe a month. Who knows? Scheduling's lovely. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.